What's up? Wow, how's life? Do I have the full contract? No, what I was, because we were watching Pisco stream, I looked at it earlier. It looked like parts of it have leaked, or have all of it leaked, or what's going on? Do we know? How do you feel about pizza where the sauce is something other than marinara? I don't know what that is, because pizza is only with marinara sauce.
Like, or others, so they
Wait,
mandated everybody, and
yes,
then people would be like, they'd go read the language and be like, doesn't that mean that, isn't it more reasonable to think that that's just not what they meant by that?
Because look at the term there.
What is this? What are they looking at? Aaron has still locked Pisco on one sentence for 30 minutes. Wait, which sentence? Or where does it start? Wait, what is this? Oh, that's okay. Good one. Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators with government officials, policy, and nonprofit experts, and others whose expertise and experiences are relevant to Chorus's progressive policy agenda. Contractor agrees to 1, utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements, and 2, disclose to the Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or others on topics related to Chorus's policy agendas. The contractor arranges through other means. And 3, collaborate fully with Chorus regarding all such separate. What is the? I don't know. How can you be stun locked on this? It seems like it's just saying that if you're doing, if you're arranging for interviews or any other kind of, I guess, like activation or engagement with anybody that's related to the stuff defined in the Chorus contract, that they would want to know about it. Well, how many different ways can you read this?
That the contractor can arrange through other means.
Destiny, my link. According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. Creators of the program must funnel all bookings with I mean, that's not what this sentence says. They might say it in another place. Hold on.
Contract tailor is all.
Hold on.
Which is like the racial justice thing, affordable healthcare, etc.
It's not the case that. Hang on. So
oh my God! How long have they been on this one sentence?
Citing that they are going to have check-ins, and also they're going to
watch the original TikTok. It's in the news.
Hello, I am a leftist that is known for being very critical of the Democratic Party, and I'm a member of a training program called Chorus that teaches political content creators on the left how to grow their platforms and make content creation into a full-time job. I have a slew of receipts to explain why a very fear-mongering article that came out yesterday about how this program works is just very, inaccurate, and I think I'm a good person to talk about this because I've seen a lot of people afraid that this program is just a way for Democrats to pay people off to blindly defend Democrats on the internet, and I understand the fear because that would be diabolical if it was true, but this is a video of me, yelling at the DNC literally yesterday over their refusal to endorse an arms embargo against Israel. I am not one to hold back on criticizing the Democratic establishment, so I think I'm useful proof that that's not what this program's about. I do feel there's people in this cohort who shill a little bit too hard for the Democrats, but that's a them problem, not a this program problem. Without further ado, let's get into the claims of the article versus my receipts. Okay, so the first main...
Before we get too far into this, okay, I read some of this story yesterday. Okay, hold on, let me, hold on. Should I read this article down? I don't know if I read the whole thing. I think I read half of it. I will read the whole article, okay? Because fuck this. I'm a little bit irritated because I see that this has got really retarded. Chat is missing on the left side. Yeah, it's the borders. I don't know if there's a way to pad. Well, actually, hold on. I can just do this, I guess. Fuck it, one sec. Unlock. Wait, is that moving at all? Fuck me. Oh, there. Okay, I need to uncrop all this. chill, calm down. Everybody calm the fuck down. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Okay, that's good for now. Oh, yeah, new shirt. He sends me a bunch of stuff, gunk to demo or whatever. Look at how cute this guy is. Look. Wait. Oh, he makes a little peace sign. Is there a guy on the back? I can't tell. I don't know if there's a guy on the back or not. Fuck! What if it's a racial slur? Wait. Shut up! He makes a little peace sign. He makes a little peace. Stop! No! Oh, it's just a bigger guy. Okay, based. All right. Okay, we're reading this. We're going to go over this from start to finish, okay? Good luck. In a private group chat in June, okay, hold on. There's an article posted to Wired. This was written by close friend of the stream, Taylor Lorenz, okay? Published 2 days ago. It's caused a bit of an uproar in the liberal media world. There have been retractions to this article since, but this is the original article as is, okay? In a private group chat in June, dozens of Democratic political influencers discussed whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. They were being offered $8,000 big ones, dollars, USD per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet. I wonder if I should take notes on this. I don't care that much, fuck it. But the contract sent to... Actually, you know what? Nah, fuck it. Why not? Fuck it. I have my live notes thing for a reason. $8,000 a month, secretive program. But the contract sent to them from Chorus, the nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing platform, came with some strings. Among other issues, hold on. Wait, fuck. What's my command for ban links? I don't know why people link me random shit in the middle of me reading stuff. Fuck, I forgot the command. Oh, mute links. Jesus, okay. The contract arm sent to them from Chorus, the nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing platform, came with some strings. Among other issues, it mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content the creators could produce. So it mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing payments, and it restricted political content from influencers. In their group chat, influencers debated the details. Should we send a joint email with all of our email addresses, or are we just going to send things separately and hope they change everything for everyone? Lorenzo, a non-binary creator in Columbus, Ohio, with over 884,000 TikTok followers, asked the group. You know what? We're going to fucking Hail Mary this. Hold on. Fuck it. Why not? Real quick. Why not? Okay. We sent a text to the friend of the stream, Taylor, to see if she wants to hop on and chat about this, just in case, because it would be epic. Some joked about collective bargaining. Any Newsies fans here? Eliza Orlins, a public defender and reality TV star known for her appearances on Survivor, posted in the group, "We're a union just by saying so." The influencers in the chat collectively had at least 13 million followers across social platforms. They represented some of the most well-known voices online, posting in support of Democrats, and they're key to wherever the party moves next. But ultimately, the group didn't make much progress. Reading through this revised chorus contract, like "you win some, you lose some," a reproductive justice influencer named Perry, who posts under the handle @WomenInAmerica, responded later in the thread. I also think there's at least 4 other things that should change, but the vibe I got from their email was that there would be minimal, if any, changes. Lorenzo, Orleans, and Perry did not reply to requests for comment. Let's see. Group chat of influencers. Going through a redlining. I don't feel strongly about pushing, to be honest. Aaron Parnas, a Gen Z news influencer, who has been called the Gen Z Walter Cronkite and has been lauded in legacy media outlets, posted to the chat. They aren't going to modify it anymore. Seems like a take it or leave it. Parnas declined to comment. I believe we are in stage 5 acceptance, Perry responded. Creators began signing on to the deal. For years, Democrats have struggled to work with influencers in oh no. Streaming now for the next few hours. For years, Democrats have struggled to work with influencers. In 2024, President Joe Biden's White House snubbed several prominent content creators after they lightly criticized the administration over its policies on climate change, COVID, Gaza, and the TikTok ban. Lightly? I don't know about that one, but okay. Wait, is this about us? Or no? Was this when we didn't get into the White House, or is this something different? No, this is something different, I think. Okay. Content creators who challenged Kamala Harris, including Hassan Piker, a well-known influencer on the left, were similarly unwelcome at campaign events. After the Democrats lost in November, they faced a reckoning. It was clear that the party had failed to successfully navigate the new media landscape. While Republicans spent decades building a powerful and robust independent media infrastructure, I don't know what this sentence means. Maximizing controversy to drive attention and maintaining tight relationships with creators despite their small disagreements with Trump, the Democrats have largely relied on outdated strategies and traditional media to get their message out. When it says the Republicans spent decades building a powerful and robust independent media infrastructure, this sounds like it's describing the opposite of an independent media infrastructure. No? Like everything here sounds like it's describing the exact opposite of a thing. Like Republicans spent decades building a reliant and highly integrated media infrastructure, maximizing controversy to drive attention and maintaining tight relationships with creators, despite their small disagreements with Trump. The Democrats, well, yeah, I feel like that's an interesting sentence, I guess. I'll just add it here, I guess. Now, Democrats hope that the secretive Chorus Creator Incubator Program, funded by a powerful... Is this the third time we've said secretive? Funded by a powerful, liberal, dark money group called the 1630 Fund, might tip the scales. The program kicked off last month, and creators involved were told by Chorus that over 90 influencers were set to take part. Creators told Wired that the contract stipulated they'd be kicked out and essentially cut off financially if they even so much as acknowledged that they were part of the program. Creators to be kicked out of program if they acknowledged its existence or their part in it, I guess. Okay. Some creators also raised concerns about a slew of restrictive clauses in the contract. Influencers concluded in communication about the program, and in some cases an onboarding session for those receiving payments from the 1630 Fund include Olivia Juliana, the centrist Gen Z influencer who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention, Lauren Pieretra, a former Playboy executive turned political influencer who hosts a podcast for Occupy Democrats, Barrett Adair, a content creator who runs an American Girl, is that a brand or something? An American Girl doll-themed pro-DNC meme account, Suzanne Lambert, who has called herself a Regina George liberal, Ariel Fodor, an education creator with 1.4 million followers on TikTok, Sandra Jennings, a former TLC reality star, and older brother of trans influencer Jazz Jennings, David Pakman, who hosts an independent progressive show on YouTube covering news and politics, Leigh McGowan, who goes by the online moniker Politics Girl, and dozens of others. The first two declined to comment. The rest did not respond to requests for comment. Maybe it what? Okay. Okay. Maybe. We'll see. We're at a maybe right now. Uh-oh. According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired that creators signed, the influencers are not allowed to disclose their relationship with Chorus or the 1630 Fund, or functionally, that they're being paid at all. Creators cannot disclose a relationship with Chorus or 16. I already got this. Dozens of liberal influencers are believed to have been approached by Chorus about the 1630 Fund financing opportunity this spring. Do we not capitalize the names of months? Summer, winter, fall, autumn, spring. Do we? Why does fall and autumn, why does that get two names? Isn't that kind of fucked? Like, why is it the only season that's that special? Did I say months? Sorry, it's seasons. They were told that Chorus appreciated the work they were doing online and were asked if they'd be interested in being part of the first cohort of a new program that Chorus was running to help expand their reach and impact, creators tell Wired. But following the initial outreach, many creators expressed concerns about some stipulations. According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. Creators also have to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political leaders. Right. If I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with them, said one creator who was offered the contract but ultimately declined to take it and asked not to be named. If I get Zoran and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't want to give that to them. Oh, this claim. Contract mandated that all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders must be funneled through Chorus. Also need to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagements. Interesting. I think these two sentences are contradictory, but we'll get into it, I guess. If I want to work with another politician, I have to fully... Creators in the program are not allowed to use any funds or resources that they receive as part of the program to make content that supports or opposes any political candidate or campaign without express authorization from Chorus in advance and in writing per the contract. Creators can't use funds to support or oppose political campaigns. The contracts reviewed by Wired prohibit standard partnership disclosures, declaring that creators will not publicize their relationship with Chorus or tell others that they're members of the program without Chorus's prior express consent. Without Chorus's prior express consent. They also forbid creators from disclosing the identity of any funder and give Chorus the ability to force creators to remove or correct content based solely on the organization's discretion if that content was made at a Chorus-organized event. These are important quotes. There are some real advantages to housing this program in a nonprofit, Graham Wilson, a lawyer working with Chorus, said to creators on a Zoom call reviewed by Wired. It gives us the ability to raise money from donors. It also, with the structure, it avoids a lot of the public disclosure or public disclaimers, paid for by blah, 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 that you see on political ads. We don't need to deal with any of that. Your names aren't showing up on, reports filed with the FEC. Wilson did not reply to a request for comment. Okay. The Federal Election Commission declined to comment. The goal, of course, according to a fundraising deck obtained by Wired, is to build new infrastructure to fund independent progressive voices online at scale. The creators who joined the incubator are expected to attend regular advocacy trainings and daily messaging check-ins. Those messaging check-ins are led by Cohen on rapid response days. The creators also have to attend at least 2 Chorus newsroom events per month, which are events Chorus plans, often with lawmakers. Oh, fuck. This is my dream thing, my dream project. Or at least this is outlining, I think how the Republicans work right now. Elizabeth Dubois, an assistant professor and university research chair in politics, communication, and technology at the University of Ottawa, who has researched the ways influencers are shaping the U.S. political system, says that we are seeing influencers being pulled into these dark campaigns or shadow campaigns where the legal aspect is murky at best. Elizabeth Dubois, quoted as saying, the legal aspect is murky. Obligation of creators to have messaging check-ins and attend 2 newsroom events per month. Sometimes it is actually clear that influencers are being used to, for example, evade spending limits, she says. I think we need to remember that for democracy to thrive, we do need transparency around who is paying for political messages. This part here, I'll go through this afterwards. Fuck, I can't be too mean before. Oh no. What part up here did I say is contradictory? Oh, this. You know what? Fuck it, just in case. Okay. 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 Don Hyder, the chief executive at the Markula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University, says that the outlined restrictions violate ethical norms. If the contract for getting money from a particular interest group says you can't disclose it, then it's pretty simple. You can't take the money, he says. We're living in an era where a lot of powerful people have basically taken the rulebook and thrown it out the window. If contract says you can't disclose money, it is unethical. Keith Edwards, a Democratic content creator who has skyrocketed to fame on YouTube since starting his channel last year, was not invited to be part of the program, but believes that the way it was structured seemed predatory. He says that he would never agree to take part in a program that was run in secret or wouldn't allow him to disclose funding. What I don't understand is, why wouldn't you just donate to creators directly who have already built something and just need to put gasoline on the fire? Says Edwards. Democrats at least understand that the internet exists now, so that's good, but they still think influencers are just there to do a terrible direct-to-camera interview that no one watches, rather than just treating us like another form of media. The influencers offered the funding, were given just days to sign the contract, which was essentially presented on a take-it-or-leave-it basis. At least one cohort was specifically told they could not have their lawyers redline it. In the group chat formed to discuss contract negotiations, some creators discussed a clause prohibiting the disparagement of other creators. Not being able to criticize anyone else affiliated with Chorus felt restrictive to some, according to text messages posted on the chat. Fuck. This is... Where were we? At least one cohort was specifically told they could not have their lawyers redline it, not being able to criticize anyone else affiliated with Chorus, felt restricted to some. Okay. Eventually, the creators in the group chat agreed to drop the issues they had. I don't think Chorus is out to screw us. Orland's a creator who was offered $8,000 per month, said in the group chat. Some influencers for Chorus Creator Incubator Program were offered as little as $250 per month, according to one creator who declined to accept the deal, while others were offered membership into the Amplifier cohort, which provides up to $8,000 a month. Fuck, this is going to be really brutal. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Thank God I watched Destiny. Nice. His brand is so toxic, it gets no dark money. He's the real independent creator. True. The 1630 Fund has emerged as a powerful funder in democratic spaces in recent years. Its website notes that issues supported by the organization include economic equity, affordable health care, climate solutions, racial justice, voter access, and other essential social change goals. The organization was founded in 2009 as a liberal response to conservative dark money groups and organizations like the Koch network, and under Trump it has soared. In 2018, the 1630 Fund provided $141 million to more than 100 left-leaning causes in order to bolster Democratic support during the midterms, according to a tax filing obtained by Politico. In 2020, the fund distributed more than $400 million, according to the organization's public tax filing, which Politico said was used in efforts to unseat then-President Donald Trump and Republicans' Senate majority. In 2022, the 1630 Fund spent $196 million backing state ballot measures on abortion rights heading into the midterms, according to NBC. Just 4 donors accounted for close to 2/3 of the fund's revenue in 2023, according to its tax filing. The largest donor gave the group $50.5 million, while others donating $31.4 million, $21.8 million, and $13.6 million. The 1630 Fund, which is not required to disclose its contributors, has for years been a major funding source for liberal and progressive causes and groups, including those that spend in elections, says Walker Davis, a research director for the Open Government Group, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Though their recent tax returns indicate that they have pulled back from the eye-popping sums they raised and spent in 2020, the organization is still one of the top-spending politically oriented nonprofits in the country. Chorus, which is described in contracts reviewed by Wired as a project of the 1630 Fund that handles operations for the Creator Program, launched in November 2024 as a nonprofit arm of Good Influence. A for-profit influencer marketing agency aimed at helping content creators connect with social good campaigns. Good Influence was founded in October 2020 by Stuart Perlmutter, the former communications director for Representative John Yarmouth of Kentucky. Seeing an opportunity after Kamala Harris's loss last November, Perlmutter co-founded Chorus with Democratic influencer Brian Tyler Cohen, who has over 4.6 million subscribers on YouTube and leads messaging check-ins for the creator cohort on rapid response days. According to records reviewed by Wired, Chorus claims that its initial creator cohort has a collective audience of more than 40 million followers with more than 100 million weekly viewers, and that the organization has hundreds of creators signed up and ready to amplify messaging. I've spent most of my career researching right-wing media and sounding the alarms about the collapse of our old information environment, Ellie Langford, the director of programming at Chorus, said on a Zoom call with dozens of creators in June. Our political systems haven't been able to figure out a real solution, and I've been really excited to see you all treading the path forward. I deeply, deeply believe that the work you're all doing is what's going to make the difference in supporting and frankly resuscitating our democracy. Already, creators in the program are creating content together. In a new weekly series titled Good News in Politics, 6 creators in the program shared a collaborative video running through political wins. Follow these creators bringing you hope instead of doom scrolling. Sandra Jennings, Orleans, Jess Craven 101, Tono Latino, Gemma Talks, and the Z Activist they posted. I finally wanted to buy some merch, but the store is gone. It's coming back. We're doing the next drop soon. We'll see.
Good news from me and a couple of friends.
Former North Carolina
While some creators have been eager to work with Chorus, others distrust the organization. This spring, Chorus faced a wave of backlash from prominent content creators whose images were included in the firm's fundraising decks without permission. I was included on some of Chorus's decks, like "We have access to V when you do not," said V Spehar, a liberal content creator with over 3.5 million followers on TikTok. I didn't follow this. Was this true? Did they fuck up on their marketing shit? Or... No? Okay, well. The faces of several well-known influencers were featured prominently on the Chorus website beneath a giant donate button. However, users who clicked the button were taken to a fundraising page for Chorus instead of anywhere their dollars would go directly to the creators featured. Progressive YouTuber and former Media Matters staffer Kat Abugazela Abufazela? I don't even, come on. Who's running for Congress in Illinois, was pictured on Chorus's website and included in fundraising decks without her consent. She asked that her image and name be removed and no longer used for fundraising purposes. Spehar, where are we at? Spehar, and other content creators have accused Chorus of attempting to establish themselves as a gatekeeper to democratic political leaders. What we need is for people to invest in independent media, and that doesn't necessarily mean investing in a consulting group that is going to become a middleman for independent media. So why would you ever invest in independent media? I don't even know if that makes sense. Or if you want to go get those investments on your own, okay. Several influencers who doggedly defended Chorus throughout the controversy, including Elizabeth Booker Houston, a Democratic comedian and content creator on Instagram, and Ali O'Brien, a progressive creator with more than 600,000 followers on TikTok, were involved in membership talks for the highest paid tier in Chorus's new Creator Incubator program. Houston did not respond to a request for comment. O'Brien declined to comment. Still, some creators heard about the 1630 Fund and Chorus funding initiative and applied to join. One creator, named Chesko, who goes by @thespeechprofOnline, applied to join the program because he viewed it as an opportunity. He joined, right? Oh, he wasn't accepted. Okay. Interesting. Applied to join the program because he viewed it as an opportunity to get access to people that have funding or backing and actual research that I could use, he says. Ultimately, he wasn't accepted and received an email on June 26th rejecting his application. We are planning to bring more creators into the incubator program in the near future, Chorus wrote. The structure of the program highlights the vast differences between how Democrats and Republicans attempt to amass online influence. Republicans have spent decades building up a powerful, independent media ecosystem, though the right-wing influencer world is far from transparent. In September of 2024, a federal indictment alleged that the Russian state-sponsored network RT was covertly providing millions in funding to Tenet Media, a company working with major right-wing right-wing influencers, including Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and Lauren Southern. In 2024, the National Republican Congressional Committee spent nearly $500,000 on work with Creator Grid, an influencer marketing company whose website says it connects Republican candidates with the internet's most powerful conservative influencers, according to analysis of campaign finance filings from the Washington Post. Stephen Buckley, a digital media sociologist at City St. George's University of London, says that these sorts of programs have been happening in the right wing for ages, but Hyder says that the structure of the 1630 Fund deal raises the question, is it ethical to match the tactics of your opponents? The Democrats appear to have no real counter to the system. Democrats miss the next generation of media, says Brendan Gahan, a co-founder of influencer marketing agency Creator Authority. Historically, they owned Hollywood, but this next generation of influence is digital, and they've miscalculated that. I don't think they feel comfortable in arenas where they lack control. Okay, Jesus. Okay, fuck. Well, if I start talking about this, I don't think... Okay. I'm curious. Okay. Let's split this into I'm trying to think. Okay, Taylor Lorenz, what do we got? Maybe go over the piece of Aaron Vaught and take additional notes on that. Maybe, we'll see. I'll see what people have published. Beckman Group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. So this was published on the 27th, August 27th, 2025, archive. I know there's a newer version of this article. I don't know what changes they make, but okay. I'm gonna organize these in like good, bad, and horrible. Bad things, good, bad, horrible things. So like good, bad, horrible doesn't make sense. It'd be good, neutral, and we'll say good, neutral, and bad claims. So the article is saying that people are getting creators are being paid $8,000 a month. I'm assuming that's like presented kind of neutrally. Mentions multiple times that the program is secretive and mandates extensive secrecy about payment disclosure. That's clearly a bad thing. Restricted political content from influencers. That's clearly a bad thing. Claims that the chorus contract dictated restricted. Oh wait, I should just say restricted. Restricted signees from doing certain political content. Let's see, group chat of influencers. Like they're redlining, or Robin Spindeck is building a, oh, I have like a little contradiction section. Contradictions? Okay, these are things that I just don't think, these things are actually, I feel like these are contradictory in the article. Like they need to be, whatever your feeling is on things, I think you have to resolve these differences. Because some of these things can't be mutually true. So this first one is, sometimes it is actually clear that influencers are being used to, for example, evade spending limits, she says. I think that we need to remember that for democracy to thrive, we do need transparency around who is paying for political messages. So we have this claim here, but then one of the claims that the article itself says is that, wait, did I not copy paste this? Or was it up here? It says that they were like explicitly forbidden from spending money on political campaigns. So I feel like that was like accounted for. I don't know why that wouldn't be mentioned there. Oh, it was this here. Sorry, where am I? Destiny, thank you. Oh, MD changed. Our chart. Thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs, buddy. Also, wait, hold on. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay. There are quotes from, or there is a quote from you know what? I don't actually need this second window yet. Fuck. Just influencer named Pari, who posts in the handle, but not responding to the thread. I think. Wait, where is this? Oh, this. There's a quote from Elizabeth Dubois claiming that these groups can be used to evade spending limits from individual creators. But the article also claims that creators in the program are not allowed to use any funds or resources as part of the... Okay. Program to support or oppose any political candidate. I don't know why you would have one quote in here from the First Lady about how these things can be used to avoid campaign spending contributions or whatever, but then have another quote here saying that according to the contact, creators in the program aren't allowed to support or oppose political candidates. Like, it seems like if there's a clause in this contract about that, it's literally to deal with that particular FEC thing right there. So I don't understand what the I don't understand why you would bring that up separately or whatever. It is a contract stipulation, not legislation, I think. What does that have to do with anything? There you go. All right. We'll get him out of here. Let's see. Lorenz writes that Republicans have spent decades building an independent media infrastructure. It sounds like she's describing a highly interdependent and integrated alternative or independent media apparatus that works directly with the Republican Party. So I don't get this part here. Destiny, they're not allowed to because the contract does not allow them to, but because it's against the law, the organization is prohibited from engaging in supporting political candidates because of that nonprofit status. Sure, I understand, Org Cheerleader, but I'm just saying she's making it sound like in the article, this group, the reason why she has that quote from Elizabeth Dubois is because she makes it sound like one of the potential things that could happen is that this program is allowing people to avoid those FEC contribution limits. But the It sounds like the contracts written for Chorus explicitly write that out, saying you can't use anything that we give you or any of the funds to support political candidates in order to avoid that pass-through. So that seems like a thing that they've literally accounted for, right? Destiny, could she just be getting a quote from a subject matter expert to spice up the article? No. No, I don't know why we make excuses for misleading writing. I don't know why you would ever do that. Destiny, I don't want to spam, but I think she's using independent like alt media, so non-mainstream. I don't know what that means or what you think that means, but alternative media doesn't mean works directly and with absolute coordination with one of the two mainstream political parties in the United States of America, unless you're literally defining alternative media as meaning just not on cable TV, which that's not really what that means. Okay, hold on. So we have apparently we really don't like lots of dark money group mentions in relation to the 1630 fund. Creators can be kicked out of program if they acknowledge its existence or their part in it. Oh, okay. What does alternative media mean? I thought it was stuff that wasn't on mainstream broadcast. Alternative media implies people that are like, imagine like citizen journalists or people that don't have necessarily a hardcore partisan political alignment that are going onto non-traditional platforms, generally like the internet, and are doing their takes on news and media. When you start having like, say, Tucker Carlson or people from the administration being stars on your YouTube channels or stars in your quote unquote alternative media platform, and then there are people in those alternative media platforms that not only worked with prior campaigns but are literally coordinating regularly, it's not really alternative media anymore. You're rebranding or recreating mainstream media in another platform. But I guess it works on retards, including people in my chat who think that alternative just means on YouTube or something. But that's not really what alternative media means. It's fucking retarded. That's like saying you have like an indie film because that's backed by like 25 billionaires and it's like a $1 billion production indie film just because it didn't go through like a major studio. You're like, well, it is indie. It is independent, bro. Or you have like a 18-year-old who's a quote unquote MILF because she got pregnant at 16 and has a 2-year-old kid. It's like, oh, she's actually MILF. It's like you're missing the whole point of the meaning of these words, of these categories. Like there's no reason for it's at that point, alternative media is basically mainstream media. If it's literally getting all of its talking points right from the mainstream political parties and all of the and they're coordinating directly with the coordinating directly with the White House is stupid. Yeah. Okay. A lot of talk about restrictions from the contract that seem to be bad, such as creators not being allowed to acknowledge the existence of the program, their part in the program, or receiving payments from it. Being prohibited from organizing independently their own lawmaker engagements. Let's see. The contract used by Wired prohibits standard partnership disclosures, declaring that creators will not publicize their relationship with Chorus or tell others that they're members of the program without Chorus's prior ratings or express consent. That's for creators, disclosing the identity of any funder and give Chorus the ability to force creators to remove or correct content based solely on the organization's discretion if that content was made at a Chorus organized event. Okay. giving Chorus the ability to remove or correct content made by creators at any Chorus organized event Let's see. The article lists many names of influencers who are working with or accepted a contract with Chorus. I understand what you were saying, but don't people consider Piers Morgan independent media? And a lot of right-wing independent media still was collaborating a lot with the White House. I think Piers Morgan can be considered independent media, but I don't think Piers Morgan it gets his talking points or is like officially coordinating with any like political party or is like broadcasting on a mainstream like media network generally. Like I think that's probably a fair. I think that's like a fair thing to say. You could even probably consider Tucker Carlson. Now, maybe you could consider him independent media, alternative media, blurring lines a little bit. But I think Tucker probably could be considered now as well, yeah. Let's see, leaked Zoom calls. Okay. A leaked Zoom call with Graham Wilson. Members won't have to worry about FEC disclosures or public disclaimers. I can put this as neutral, I guess. Creators have an obligation to have messaging check-ins and to attend to newsroom events per month. Is this a neutral? I feel like this is almost bad. I feel like it's close to leaning there, but Elizabeth Dubois quoted as saying the legal aspect is murky. Let's see. We'll just put this up here. Quote from Elizabeth Dubois saying the legal aspect of the organization is murky. When Destiny's done with his notes, he should cover Aaron trying to sweep for Lorenz. Maybe. We'll see what other creators have said about this or whatever. For final clarification, there are some other examples of alternative media LARPers. Benny Johnson. Yes, a lot of conservatives are really good at this. Benny Johnson LARPs his alternative media. He's not. That guy is like absolutely fucking a 100% shill for the Conservative Party. Tim Pool would be, as much as I hate him, I probably considered independent or alternative media. He's just on that anti-establishment kick. I don't know where their fucking Skype group is or whatever. Actually, no. I don't know if I would consider Tim Pool anymore. When you're actually doing campaigning or stump speeching for candidates, I feel like you're blurring the line past anything that can be understood at that point. And Tim Pool did campaign for Trump. He did host events, or at least one, right, where he was on stage speaking about electing him. If you exclude Epstein, what other issues does he disagree with Trump on? It's not about if you agree or disagree with him. Like right now, I basically simp for the Democratic Party in whole, like on almost every issue, right? But I'm considered independent media. I have no official, obviously, affiliation with anybody now in the Democratic Party or anything. But if I started working very closely with a lot of those lawmakers or with a lot of their messaging or whatever, and was going back and forth like that, then I think you start to blur the lines and maybe wouldn't consider it as much. What's the difference between independent versus alternative media? It's like suppressor and silencer for a gun. It's basically the same thing. It's just... okay, legal aspect movie. we've got a quote from Don Hyder claiming if contract says you can't disclose money, it is unethical. One creator claimed they were denied the ability to redline the contract. I don't think those two terms should be synonymous. Okay. This is something I don't understand. In the article, there is an anonymous creator who claims he was unable, or he was specifically told his lawyer could not redline a contract, yet the article opens with a bunch of creators speaking about redlining their contracts. Why was one allowed? Or why were some allowed and others weren't? Wasn't the start of the article that the contract was take it or leave it? Kind of. They mix in some language here to obscure it a bit, but it clearly wasn't. This guy said it seems like the contract was take it or leave it. However, this statement here, reading through this revised chorus contract, like you win some, you lose some, this is in response to them redlining the initial version, sending it back to chorus, and then getting back a revised contract. So clearly, they were allowed to redline it. They were doing some redlining. So I don't know why later on it says one creator was told he couldn't. What is redlining? So typically there's like standard contracts, like boilerplate contracts, where somebody will shoot out. Stop. Hold on. No, I'm not doing this anymore, okay? Like, for a long time, I assumed that maybe my personal standards for writing a research were just absurdly high, and it's actually totally common practice that publications or journalists or whatever are allowed to write shitty articles that are unclear or misleading, and I should just accept that as a standard. I don't agree with that. If I can write something decently well with no training, then these people should be able to write at my level or better. I don't know why we're making excuses. Destiny, this is not clear in the article, I agree, but I think the idea is that those might have been different cohorts/tiers. There should be no guessing here, okay? This statement, if you know anything about, I'm not trying to attack you, I'm sorry, okay? But if you know anything about working with people and signing contracts, especially in the influencer space where you have a lot of young people, a lot of people who don't know as much about contracts or aren't very savvy, and somebody is saying that at least one cohort was specifically told they could not have their lawyers redline a contract, that sounds very predatory. Influencers were offered funding that was given, they were given just days to sign, and it was given as a take it or leave it thing where your lawyer is not allowed to redline it. I don't know why they say lawyers redline it too. The insinuation there is that your lawyers aren't even allowed to look at it, although I'm reading a bit into it there, but this is a very, very, very strong statement saying that like they're finding people, offering them $8,000 a month, take it or leave it, you got a few days to sign, no redlining, go. But the whole article opened with a group chat of people talking about the contract that was at least revised a single time. These are contradictory statements in this article, they have to be resolved. Anything else you think is wrong. Those are contradictory statements, full stop. If you've got to stretch your, like I can play with you, we can play pretend if you want. If you want to role play, like let's figure out what it could mean, we could do that, but I'm not reading the article as young adult, fantasy novel, whatever medieval bullshit. Like this is supposed to be an informative article. So I don't know why you would make an excuse here for the obvious contradiction. That's insane to me. Sorry, I love you. Okay. Under the contradictions in the original article, there's a mention of campaign fund limit evasion. I think the point was that the content creators could be considered paid positive media that would traditionally be put under the campaign umbrella under other circumstances. Sorry if this is retarded. No excuse for the vagueness, just a different read. You are right and you are wrong, okay? I understand what you're saying, okay? The point is that the content creators could be considered paid positive media. That is correct. You can make contributions to a campaign in kind that don't necessarily quantify out to, or that will be quantified in dollars, but aren't charged in dollars. So for instance, let's say that I traditionally charge somebody $10,000 to have a 4-hour media appearance on my stream. Let's say that I have that charge generally, okay? Let's just pretend that is, okay? Let's say there's a candidate running for local office, and let's say that he wants to come and chat on my stream, you know, is kind of like, and it's not an open offer, but he wants to chat. And I say, oh yeah, sure. Come on. There's like a 4-hour segment I'll do it for free for you, buddy. Not only will I do it for free for you, but like the next day also, I'll kind of like, you know, I'll hype up your campaign and chat and shit. That's illegal. My understanding is that that would be considered an in-kind campaign contribution. I believe FEC limits are $4,500 or $5,500. Yeah, the value of that free appearance would exceed the market value of what I'd normally sell that spot for, and I would be endorsing a candidate explicitly. That would be not okay. However, it sounds like when they were reading, when they were quoting from the, what I just said is not okay, but it sounds like what they were quoting from in the thing here, creators in the program are not allowed to use any funds, so that is an obvious one, or resources that they receive as part of the program to make content that supports or opposes any political candidate or campaign without express authorization from Chorus in advance and in writing per the contract. I don't know what the original clause is, but it sounds like a clause that's basically trying to cover their ass on that. And I don't mean cover their ass in a bad way, like as in being responsible, saying like, hey, listen, we're going to pay you this money or whatever. We're going to give you $8,000 a month for whatever this thing. You can't take that $8,000 a month and use it to put on events for candidates. One, it could fuck us because now it looks like we're just funneling money through a creator to basically support a candidate. And two, now you're supporting a candidate directly. That's on your time. You need to make your own FEC statements, your campaign contribution statements or whatever, and you have to deal with that personally. You can't just funnel our money to another candidate. That would be disallowed for at least those two reasons, right? So this sounds like this is covering that aspect of the legality, but they're presented in different parts of the article as though they're not considering one another, right? Okay. So names two creators who, or it names two creators who defended Chorus through a prior drama relating to utilizing people's images without merit, or I'm sorry, without permission for fundraising. Okay, these are the claims. Let's see. Following the initial outreach, many creators expressed concern about some stipulations. According to copies of the contract, creators are responsible for all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders. Okay, I think I have this under. Oh, what if this is contradiction? Oh, this also doesn't make sense. I don't understand what this means. This paragraph seems contradictory. Following the initial outreach, many creators expressed concern about some stipulations. According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. That makes it sound like what the contract is saying is that you cannot independently organize these things. Okay. Gotcha. But then the next sentence is, creators also have to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political leaders. But this sentence right here makes it sound like this action here is banned. Reading this sentence says that you have to funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. And this is saying bookings that you do on your own, you have to inform us about government officials or political leaders. These are contradictory. I don't understand how these two statements can stand next to each other. It doesn't make any sense, I think. The Wrens claims a copy of the contract forbade creators from independently organizing their own content with lawmakers / political leaders but also says they have an obligation to inform chorus of said independently organized events. How can both of these be true at once? Sorry. Question mark. What I understand is, why wouldn't you just donate to creators directly who have already built something and just need to put gasoline on the fire? Says Edwards. Democrats at least understand that the internet exists now, so that's good, but they still think influencers are just there to do a terrible direct-to-camera interview that no one watches rather than just treating... This is just... I don't understand. This is dumb. Also, I don't even know if they can, from a PAC or whatever, donate infinitely to media like that. I'm not even sure if you can do that, but okay. In the group chat forum to discuss contract negotiations, creators discussed a clause preventing the disparagement of other creators, not being able to criticize anyone else affiliated with Chorus, but restricted to some according to... Oh. Is that a contradiction? I'll just put that under bad. It's a claim about... non-disparagement clause makes it seem as though it is out of the ordinary or overly burdensome. The influencers offered the funding were given just days to sign the contract, which essentially presented on a take-or-leave basis. Reading through the rise course, trying to win some, you lose some. Yeah, okay. We already have this. And then, while others are offered membership into the Amplifier cohort, which provides up to $8,000 a month. Okay. And then, the first paragraph of the article heavily implies, if not outright states, that every member of Chorus is making $8,000 per month. Later on, the article goes into different tiers and explains some might have been offered as little as $250 per month. I feel like this, the opening for this. Oh wait, actually, would you call this the tagline? This is a little more, or this sounds more honest. In a private group chat in June, dozens of Democratic political influencers discussed whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. They were being offered $8,000 per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet. Was every single person in here being offered $8,000 a month? Oh, I bet they were all part of the highest tier. Is there a name for this? What do you call this? Like the secondary title or whatever? Or the second headline or whatever? There's a name for these things. I'll just call it the subheader, I guess. Or subtitle. No, that's not what you would say. The tagline? H1, H2? Isn't that like CSS? We need for people to invest in independent media, and that doesn't necessarily mean investing in a consulting group that is going to become a middleman for independent media. But I have a prescriptions part. What should be done? There's a quote/claim by who is this person? Under the desk news. Why that? Is that supposed to be like... Oh, okay. Fuck, I don't know if they talk about this at all. Whatever. By V. Spahar, saying that funding from middlemen groups is bad and that funding should go to creators directly. Oh. How is that different from just watching streams/YouTubes? How does that address at all the issues with a lack of coherence and cohesion with Democrat Party messaging? The structure of the program highlights the vast differences between how Democrats and Republicans attempt to amass online influence. Republicans have spent decades building up a powerful independent media. Oh, yeah. Okay. Claiming that Chorus Chorus's attempts to build an online media ecosystem are somehow the opposite of what the Republicans have done. That doesn't seem to explain how. I forgot this loser existed. Who is this? Sean King? Okay. Okay. All right. Can somebody link me? What is the updated version of this article? Today is the 29th. This is an August 27th archive, and then August 29th archive with revisions. And the revisions are following the publication of this article, Graham Wilson of the Elias Law Group, who's participating in a Zoom call was reported upon and who did not respond to Wired's pre-publication email requesting comment, reached out to Wired on several points. These include whether members of the cohort can publicly talk about working with Chorus and Chorus's connection to good influence, both of which Wired has clarified. We have also included comments from Wilson regarding Chorus placing restrictions on content and whether V. Speher was included in any Chorus material. Oh, okay. I feel like it should be easier to see. It's made on August 28th. The contract sent to them from Chorus, the non-profit arm of a liberal. Wilson did not reply to a request for comment before the article was published. We see that. Wilson maintained in a post-publication email that creators are free to work with other groups or take on other partnerships outside the Quest program and say whatever they want as part of that work or on their own. Okay. Are all the changes just in parentheses? It's kind of funny. Okay, without Chorus's prior express consent, a screenshot from a slideshow was shared with Wired following articles produced by criminals. I'm a lawyer. A lawyer working with Chorus that offers several talking points. If a member of the cohort wanted to discuss Chorus publicly, a screenshot from a slideshow was shared with Wired following this article's publication. Working with Chorus that offers several talking points. A member of the cohort wanted to discuss Chorus publicly. Oh, so it sounds like they are allowed to talk about it? But that seems to be contradictory from in here. Huh. Following the publication of this article, Wilson said that there is no record of V being included in any course materials, nor being named as part of the effort. Is that true? I didn't look at the past on this. There are some comments by Wilson added in parentheses between or after some statements. So it appears that all of the original text and claims remains unchanged. Okay. Okay. This is the Taylor Lorenz article. How do we... Okay. So the main takeaway from the article, I guess, the thing that I guess is a little bit disappointing is, so this article is a hit piece, right? Obviously. Maybe there were a couple of more neutral claims I could have added in here, but it's overwhelmingly negative. I don't think I saw anything good, unless you say creators being paid is good, although if it's from a dark shadow money, secretive organization with highly restrictive contracts that can dictate your content, it seems to be not good. So basically nothing good is written in this article about Chorus at all. So there's a couple just statements of fact, and then all of it is overwhelmingly negative. I think you could describe this as a hit piece. I think the things that are the most concerning to me is that verdict. This is a hit piece with the goal of attacking / destroying the Chorus organization and destroying the reputation of anyone who touches it or defends it, and sending a signal / message that anyone involved with it in the future will be similarly targeted. One thing that I feel is very strange in the article, that this article does, is the excessive naming of people involved. There was one paragraph where it was just like person, and it feels like the only reason why these people are named is so that you could know, like, these are the creators who you have to ignore because they're part of the dark money, dark web, horrible underground, darknet influencer, shadow money, donor class network. Which paragraph was this? Oh, it names these two who defended Chorus in a prior controversy, doggedly defended Chorus. It names both of them, and it also usually names their like positions, and it'll name like their social media platforms as well, which I think is pretty crazy. Like they're very big on, or Taylor's very big on naming people. Oh, this paragraph. Influencers included in communication about the program, and in some cases an onboarding session for those receiving payments from 1630 Fund, include Olivia Juliana, a centrist Gen Z influencer who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention; Lauren Pieretra, a former Playboy executive turned political influencer who hosts a podcast for Occupy Democrats; Barrett Adair, a content creator who runs an American Girl doll-themed pro-DNC meme account; Suzanne Lambert; Ariel Fodor with a TikTok account; Sander Jennings; David Packman, Leigh McGowan. This seems kind of crazy. The calling out of like, there were like 3 different parts in this article that tried to call out different content creators that were associated with this, with the goal obviously being to create like a massive chilling effect, or I think to bully or attack anybody that's involved in this program, or to undermine people that are working with any of these things. Yeah. Okay. What are the responses to this? Fuck. What is this? So I can fucking do this in case I make a thing at the end. I just spent the whole day fighting against this.
Hello, I am a leftist that is known for being very critical of the Democratic Party, and I'm a member of a training program called Chorus that teaches political content creators on the left how to grow their platforms and make content creation into a full-time job. I have a slew of receipts to explain why a very fear-mongering article that came out yesterday about how this program works is just very inaccurate, and I think I'm a good person to talk about this because I've seen a lot of people afraid that this program is just a way for Democrats to pay people off to blindly defend Democrats on the internet, and I understand the fear because that would be diabolical if it was true. But this is a video of me yelling at the DNC literally yesterday over their refusal to endorse an arms embargo against Israel. I am not
I should fact check. I'll include this up in my thing. Ugh. TikToks don't have titles, do they, huh? Okay, good one. Video about chorus involvement, I guess. No quote around it. "21 hours ago" was August 28th.
Want to hold back on criticizing the Democratic establishment. So I think I'm useful proof that that's not what this program's about. I do feel there's people in this cohort who shill a little bit too hard for the Democrats, but that's a them problem, not a this program problem. Without further ado, let's get into the claims of the article versus my receipts. Okay, so the first main big...
Okay, wait, so she also said that she was allowed to criticize, she said the Democrats or other content creators? Whatever. We'll see if she walks through this. We'll see what she says.
Scary thing that's written into this article is creators told Wired that the contract stipulated they'd be kicked out and essentially cut off financially if they even so much as acknowledged that they were part of the program or that Chorus existed. No. Here's a video of someone named Heidi who's in the cohort explaining what Chorus is and that she's joining it on November 20th, 2024. Here is the Chorus website that is public facing, anyone can see it, with literal pictures of creators that are in the cohort. In the contract I signed, there is some language that says, hey, please...
Wait.
Here's a video of someone named Heidi who's in the cohort explaining what Chorus is and that she's joining it on November 20th, 2024. Here is the Chorus website that is public facing, anyone can see it, with literal pictures of creators that are in the cohort. In the contract I signed, there is some language that says, hey, please, before you make a public statement about what Chorus is, just check with us. The reason for that is that, as the article states, there's over 90 influencers in the program, many of whom have very small accounts and joined the program to get mentorship and happen to be immigrants or trans in a red state, right? And already happen to be kind of in extra danger right now. And so the goal with the please check with us clause was to make sure that small creators who already had targets on their back weren't accidentally featured on a huge page and then suddenly have an onslaught of threats from the right. Chorus has never been kept some nefarious secret, right? People have been talking about it. It was more just, hey, this is already an unsafe job for some people. Check with us in advance so you don't accidentally add to someone's unsafety. Okay, number 2. According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. No, again, I literally have the contract right here. I'll talk through it in a minute, but first let me show you this. Here's an email of me directly reaching out to the Zoran. First, let me show you. I have the lawmakers and political leaders. Talk through it in a minute, but first let me show you this. I have the contract right here. I'll talk through it in a minute.
Okay, fuck. Oh, again, wait, is this what these guys were stun locked on? Pisco and Aaron? Okay, so now that I have more background, it sucks I don't have the full contract in front of me, but we'll see what we can cobble together. Book engagements. Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators with government officials, policy and nonprofit experts, and others whose expertise and experiences are relevant to Chorus's progressive policy agenda. Contractor, which is probably the name being given to the person signing this contract, so the creator, the influencer, the TikToker, whatever the fuck you want to say. Contractor agrees to 1, utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements, 2, disclose to Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or topics or others on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda that Chorus arranges through other means, and 3, collaborate something with Chorus regarding all. So this here, I don't know how Pisco and Aaron are reading this. There is, in my opinion, there's only one reading of this. You're not prohibited from organizing your own things. It's just in my personal experience with signing contracts, if this was supposed to be exclusive would sure as fuck be used here. For instance, Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which exclusively coordinates on behalf of contractor booking and engagement opportunities for creators with government officials, policy, blah, blah, blah. That's what I would expect to see here. Contractor agrees to 1, exclusively utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements. 2, this 2 wouldn't even be put here. That would be it. You exclusively utilizing. So this seems like that's not the case. A leaked Zoom call with Graham Wilson. Claims members want to. Where are we at here? Ali O'Brien's contract paste seems to indicate that you can indeed arrange your own content, your own meetings, interviews, / other content with political figures. You simply need to notify Chorus of this agreement. I should have these, these should be separate claims. Such as, okay. Creators not being allowed to acknowledge this as a program, their part in the program, or receiving payments from it. We'll say here, receiving payments from the program. Giving Chorus the ability to remove. Okay. I feel like this kind of contradicts the first one. And then this here. Okay.
The contract right here. I'll talk through it in a minute, but first let me show you this. Here's an email of me directly reaching out to the Zoran campaign to try to interview him, because Chorus does not control who I interview or what I post. I also sometimes text the comms directors directly of Congress people that I want to interview, because usually the congressional offices will give out these little business cards. And this is not specific to content creators. This is just if you go to try to talk to your senator, their people will give you little business cards. I blurred out the name of the specific person because I feel awkward, but anybody can get these business cards and then you can just text them. Chorus does not control that. I've done lots of congressional interviews and usually I just set them up myself. And here's the section of the contract, right, that confirms that. It says they want you to disclose to Chorus any engagement with government officials related to Chorus's policy agenda. That contractor, that's me, I'm the contractor, arranges through other means, right? So if I just arrange it myself with a congressperson, I just let Chorus know so that they know that congressperson's open to booking and other people in Chorus can do it too. Accidentally, I always forget to let Chorus know. I don't think I've ever told them that before, but that's not what's...
If you're a TikToker and you want to show things, can you do that for 1 second? Can you just show the whole thing without green screening it just so that somebody can see it without having to find it with your head bobbing and weaving through? That's so annoying.
What's important is that they're literally acknowledging here that you can book it yourself, and the fact that the person who wrote this article claims to have read through the entire contract, but here it is clearly written that what you stated in your article was categorically false, that is quite concerning about your journalistic integrity. I get that these contracts are long and confusing, that's why people have lawyers and managers to help them, but
I bet this contract is less than 10 pages long. That's just my guess. Maybe less than 5 pages long, but
You don't write an article about it unless you understand what's going on. This whole article is just written like, you know, this group, they have money and so they control them. And it's just like, no, that's not what's happening. If there is someone in this cohort that you are like, they are too much of a shill doing whatever the Democratic Party says, it's not this program that's the reason for that. I don't know how to put this nicely. It's either a personal moral failing by those people or it's a different contract they're under that says they can't criticize Dems, but it's not this one because I'm under this contract and you can catch me on the daily making fun of Andrew Cuomo, pissed at Cory Booker, calling for Chuck Schumer to lose his job. Take your pick. I have heard of contracts that exist that restrict what people can say bad about Democrats, but this is not one of them. This contract actually has no bearing on a single thing that we ever post, which brings me to my next section. The next part, and this is a really important part, I'm going to try to explain this as well as I can, but feel free to comment questions, is that the contracts reviewed by Wired prohibit standard partnership disclosures. What she's talking about, okay, a standard partnership disclosure is when you make a video in partnership with an org like the ACLU, and so then you put ACLU partner as a disclosure in your caption. There is very important context left out of this article of why the standard disclosures aren't the kind we use at Chorus, and that's because Chorus never pays us to make a video. The author of this article actually said that in a comment. You're correct that Chorus doesn't pay you to post.
O'Brien, not Alien. Oh, that makes sense. I should have caught that myself. Clarifies in her video. Chorus does not. Oh, no, wait. Actually, no. Because they just said that you couldn't make videos for opposing or supporting political candidates, but she's saying they don't pay for videos at all. To create any content individually / explicitly, I guess. So there's no need for disclosures as would ordinarily be legally required.
Post specific content. Chorus is a training program where I learn things like what lights to buy if I want to film a YouTube video and what policy experts are saying about gerrymandering in Texas and National Guard in DC. So since Chorus, there is very important context left out of this article of why the standard disclosures aren't the kind we use at Chorus, and that's because Chorus never pays us to make a video. The author of this.
What do you take collaborate fully with Chorus regarding all such separately engaged arrangements to mean? You send me a full screenshot of it. I couldn't read it with her head bobbing and weaving like Neo from the Matrix in front of it. So if you can send me a full screenshot, cobble it together, whatever, then I'll go through it. But I'm not doing one sentence.
This article actually said that in a comment. You're correct that Chorus doesn't pay you to post specific content. Chorus is a training program where I learn things like what lights to buy if I want to film a YouTube video and what policy experts are saying about gerrymandering in Texas.
Oh. It's not even clear from reading this article what Chorus is. Do they pay creators to make content? ? Do they just try to synchronize messaging? Do they dictate to people, to creators, the subject matter they must cover? What are creators even being compensated for?
And National Guard in DC. So since Chorus is about like personal development and they're never paying you to make a video, of course you're not putting like Chorus partnership in your caption. That's not how that would work. So I don't fault anyone who read this sentence and was like, that is so evil, because a lot of people who consume content don't necessarily know the way that the logistics of like, you know, your partnership labels work. But I am frustrated at the author of this article for not adding like the relevant context here, because she is not supposed to publish an article unless it's been like very fact checked and contextualized. And this was like very misleading. And then I also highlighted this section. I accidentally talked about it already earlier in the video. The, you know, creators will not publicize the relationship with Chorus or tell others they're a member of the program without Chorus's prior express consent. This is the protecting small creators part, but also lots of things in contracts are written very strict in case of legal emergency. I've told plenty of people casually that I'm in Chorus, and Chorus does not care. They've expressly told us that that's fine. This is just for if someone does something like diabolically evil and then Chorus has to sue them, and they can just be like, girl, the contract. Like, it makes it easier in court. They don't really care about it otherwise. It's not.
That's... I don't know this person about anything, but this is not good advice for signing contracts. Don't ever say, oh, that's like anytime somebody tells you, oh, don't worry about that clause, that's just there in case shit gets really fucked. When you sign a contract, you should always assume the worst case scenario in all of your contracts, and how can you be the most fucked from a contract? I couldn't comment more on this clause without reading it. I would have to see how it's, like, what the goal of this clause is by reading it, I guess, yeah.
Be like, girl, the contract. Like, it makes it easier in court. They don't really care about it otherwise. It's not top secret. If you want more examples of people who've publicly talked about Chorus for a while.
Although it is strange that Chorus seems to be openly and publicly spoken about both on the website itself and by several content creators. I'm not sure what is supposed to be secretive, question mark? I was only able to get the number of parts. Okay. Can't courts get in trouble for selectively enforcing clauses in the contract? I've never heard that before. Okay, Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators of government officials. Blah, 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 blah. Utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements. Disclose to Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or others on topics related to Chorus of all agenda. The contractor arranges through other means. And 3, collaborate fully with Chorus regarding all such separately arranged engagements. I don't know what collaborate means here. Collaborate could mean just like keep them in the loop. Or it could mean you have to give them access to your event and allow them to throw other creators on board with it. I'm not sure, though. I wish I could see the rest of this, but... Contractify agrees. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm old. I'm so sorry. I'm getting old. I actually get upset. I actually get like my... What is the hormone for being mad? I hate watching TikTok videos. You guys will never understand the deep pit of anger I have watching videos that are made like this. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, I'm back here. I'm here.
Well, I'm happy to provide them. Feel free to comment. I just used Heidi's example because I think it's just very obvious. Okay, I have 2 more things to address in this video, and then feel free to comment if you have more things you want me to explain. But
be critical of the Dems or their policy agendas if you want, and shows examples of her doing such.
the first is, we've talked a lot about what Chorus is not, because that article led people to believe that it was this, a plot by the DNC to be able to just pay people off to blindly obey them. Now that that's been debunked, let's talk about what Chorus actually is. I have my Google Calendar for the week here to explain. Every morning, we start off with a news update meeting. Okay, we meet for 15 minutes. I wake up and I'm immediately just told what the news of the day is, and we all get a chance to ask, questions if we want to know how...
You hate watching the overlay over the relevant info? I just don't like the green screening stuff I'm supposed to read in the background. That's just crazy to me. It feels like imagine you put condoms on books and you're trying to read through the condom. I don't understand what the fuck. It's just, I don't understand. I don't understand this. But it's just, this is how they do it for TikTok. I don't know. That's okay.
Specific lawsuit is developing, or what is Trump expected to do next with the National Guard, right? We're just making sure we're all the most informed. These are very brief. Sometimes they're 5 minutes. Then 3 times a week in the afternoon, we have a more specific training. On Mondays, we have technical trainings. That's where we learn about a specific platform. So someone will come and explain how you start a Substack or how you start YouTube long form. On Wednesdays, we have advocacy training, which is where we hear from an expert in a specific policy field. So recently it's been a lot of people who work in immigration explaining ICE or explaining the logistics of the National Guard, that kind of thing. And then Fridays are a little bit more flexible, and they're optional. I haven't gone to them, so I won't speak on it. And that is the weekly schedule. And the whole point of it is that you're developing your channel over the course of 6 months, so that hopefully by the end of it, you can be your own self-sufficient full-time content creator. Because people who work in politics on social media often have a hard time getting funding. It's hard to make it your job, but the right does a really good job of making it people's jobs, such that the political right actually pushes out 500 times as much content as the political left. That's an actual statistic every single day. They're outperforming.
If you're going to quote a statistic, you should at least have a source for it, but I would believe that intuitively.
Us in volume incredibly, because they just make sure that people can do it as a job. That's what this program is trying to accomplish, to counter the manosphere. Last thing I want to talk about is my belief that the election funding system in this country is fundamentally broken. And I want to talk a little bit about the logistics of dark money, because it's not really explained in this article. Dark money is when someone does fundraising for the purpose of influencing elections, right? Giving it to a campaign through nonprofit organizations so that they don't have to disclose the identity of the original donor. So for example, right, we all know that Donald Trump is helping the Cuomo campaign in New York. Now, that's embarrassing for Andrew Cuomo is the problem. So if Trump wants to give money to the Cuomo campaign but doesn't want anyone to know it was him, he can give it to a dark money organization that again gives it to Cuomo, and nobody can trace it back to Donald Trump.
So just to be clear, I believe she's outlining the structure essentially of how a super PAC works. That is not true. I don't believe that super PACs are allowed to coordinate with or donate to individuals directly that are running for office. So if Donald Trump wanted to funnel $20 million to Cuomo, he would not be able to do it to a nonprofit that doesn't have to report it, and then that nonprofit gives it to Cuomo. What you would have to do is there would have to be some super PAC called like New Yorkers for Traditional Democracy, and that doesn't coordinate with Cuomo, but it talks about how scary Mamdani is and how are we gonna have a Muslim mayor, and we think that people like Cuomo are better for the job. Donald Trump could funnel, theoretically, an infinite amount of money to that super PAC, but you can't just send money to a dark money group and then that group sends money directly to a political candidate. That's just not how that works. You're not allowed to do that.
I don't like that system. And to be clear, most Americans don't. Like, except for the billionaires, we're pretty much all Republican and Democrat, like, on the same page that system is really bad. So I was excited to join this incubator program at Chorus for a while. It was the first of its kind on the left. I felt like it was really important for me as a leftist to be there. I mean, this way I can encourage people to be more critical of Israel, encouraging them to push their representatives a little bit harder. To me personally, I find it important to be in rooms with people who are less critical of the system than I am, because I have the hope of like nudging these people into more strong advocacy. And that's not always going to work, but sometimes it does. And so when the leaders of Chorus came to us and they were like, we're finally launching the program, we finally found someone to fund this, it's the 1630 fund. I was like, right, okay, not the biggest fan of their other work. Let me think on this. And obviously I ended up joining, but it was not without serious deliberation with my friends and my family and my management and the people who run Chorus. And ultimately, like, I want to sort of lay out for you who may be curious what my thought process looked like. I decided that my distaste for the fact that the 1630 fund funds some, congressional Democrat campaigns with methods that I don't like was outweighed by the potential benefit of a separate program where they have no control over what I say, where I'd be a leftist voice in a first of its kind incubator program for 90 people to combat the manosphere. I was like, you know what? This program is imperfect, but I think that I can do good from it. And I think that the threat of fascism is so big right now that there might need to be an order of operations, right? We need to get rid of the fascist threat of Donald Trump trying to take everything over. And then once me and us buddies are in power, then we get rid of the dark money mechanism so that nobody in the future has to do this through a dark money funder who's the only one willing to fund something in the future. I'm more than happy to have dialogue with people about, the pros and cons and weighing, like, joining a program and whatnot. But I do want to, like, really emphasize everything I have posted has not changed at all since I joined this program. I think that's very evident if you know my page well, if you see the things I talk about, if you see the way that I don't hold myself back from criticizing anybody who is worthy of criticism. I think that there is genuinely a very important conversation to be had about the way that we do funding for all things political in this country. And part of the reason this article frustrates me is because instead of having a very legitimate conversation about that, it was just like a bunch of misinformation, and now we're all just debating the facts. It's like taking everyone's attention away from what's like really important and what the real things we should be talking about are, and just making a whole like internet mess. Anyways, feel free to comment any questions that you have. I'll be responding to the comments, and if you have any questions too, like we can respond in the comments with pictures now, so I can probably I can send you specific stuff in the comments, like photos of proof of whatever.
If she's posting parts of the, why don't I just post the whole contract? No?
You know what I mean? Okay.
Has this whole contract really not leaked yet from anybody? The funny thing about this whole organization is, here's the funniest part, okay? I'm guessing right now, because I haven't gone through any of the material related to this yet, all right? But that's what we're about to do. My guess is one issue is that the Republicans already have this. The Republicans do all of this coordinating and everything already. But two, I bet you're going to see a totally coordinated attack against this Chorus thing from the left as well, where it's going to be all the same talking points, all in lockstep with one another, all with the goal of simply destroying the organization, right? That's what it's going to be for. I think a big thing to keep in mind when somebody's criticizing something is, what does it feel like the criticism is getting at, Let's say that somebody is trying to, grow a betula-lac flower. I don't know what the fuck flowers are. Some hard to grow flower. If somebody walks outside and they see it and they're like, oh shit, I see you're trying to grow that flower. You suck shit at gardening. You should probably just kill yourself. This flower will never grow. You're doing everything wrong. Okay. Versus somebody that goes out and they're like, oh, hey, I see you're trying to grow this thing. It's probably not going to grow if you do ABC. If you want, like, here's a guidebook or some suggestions I would have. You want to, blah, blah, right? Even though both criticisms are like on paper, Ask the Autistic fucks online will say things like, oh, they both said the same thing. They're both just being critical. Like, criticism can come from a place of like support, where the goal is like, I want you to succeed, so here's some criticism. And then criticism can come from a place of I want to destroy you because you are contrary to my interests, basically. The goal of this article was to destroy. That's why the prescription at the very end was basically just saying this group shouldn't exist. That quote from V. Spehar is saying that all middleman funding is bad, so this whole organization needs to die, and that funding should just go to creators directly. I don't even know what the fuck that means. People just watching streams and donating? Like, that's not even a real answer. I don't know who this V-Spec person is, but they're probably an idiot. Or most definitely an idiot, but yeah. But let's see. We'll find out, okay? So responses. Defending, chorus, creators involved, I guess. Okay, that was her. Oh God, what was their conversation about for this?
Require members to attend newsroom events, public newsroom events. So in what respect, right? Like, how could it be the case?
Wait, I don't think these were supposed to be public. It sounds like these are behind the scenes newsroom events. Events course plans. Or wait, hold on, maybe not. Creators also attend at least 2 course newsroom events per month, which are events course plans, often with lawmakers. They said that, no, never mind. That does sound private to me. I don't know where piece is getting public, unless they have some other piece of information. But
I think that's on a creator basis.
No, but like, hang on a second.
I could be wrong. Maybe they are all
Taylor
but events. They mentioned events. Hold on.
No, Taylor herself is citing that they are going to have check-ins, and also they're going to require members to attend newsroom events, public newsroom events. So in what respect, right? Like, how could it be the case that...
Which are events? Oh, wait, are they remote events, or by events... I'm thinking like in person or whatever. Maybe that's not even what you were thinking. You just mean like, even if it's
this is quote from Taylor. Quote.
Yeah, the goal, of course, according to a fundraising back obtained by Wired, is to build new infrastructure to fund independent progressive voices online at scale. The creators who join the incubator are expected to attend regular advocacy trainings and daily messaging check-ins. Those messaging check-ins are led by Cohen on rapid response days. The creators also have to attend at least 2 course, quote-unquote, newsroom events per month, which are events course plans, often with lawmakers. So you're saying that this is public?
Yes, Course wants to build a newsroom, and that was also...
Events per month, which are events course plans, often with lawmakers. So you're saying that this is public?
Yes, Course wants to build a newsroom, and that was also, when we actually eventually go to the lady of this TikTok, they have a newsroom where they're going to have lawmakers go to the newsroom so they can interact with creators in the chorus newsroom. So
my Pisco might have seen something else. I'm not sure. I don't even know if this is how consequential this is. I read this newsroom thing as being a private thing. I've been in calls before where lawmakers are there and like other creators. Basically, it's just the chance for you to ask questions for lawmakers to coordinate or synergize on some particular thing. But these might be public events too, maybe, where they're broadcasting it. Yeah, this sounds more like I don't want to say like a workshop, but like let's say that Ro Khanna was going to do some event. You might have a call with him and a few other creators that might be involved in the event or involved with something peripheral to it, to have a call just to like chat and to get face to face on Zoom or whatever, and then to ask some questions. That's how I read this. But this it could be public. I don't read this as a public thing. But who knows?
This just like the association between Chorus and the creators.
But also, I don't think it matters that much whether this is public or private.
Was obviously going to be known, right? And so really what we're talking about here now is like the disclosure that these people are getting paid at all. And yeah, they should disclose that they're getting paid by Chorus, 100%. I agree with this. But even by Taylor's own words, the association obviously eventually was going to be exposed, but the way she paints it is somehow more shadowy and somehow like, oh, this is all like behind, like, and I think that more broader implication of nefariousness because even the association with Chorus might not be disclosed. That is ridiculous.
This is a part of the contract, right? Book engagements. Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators with government officials, policies, and nonprofit experts and others whose...
So the Chorus newsroom. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I agree. I think that I think this is a private thing. This newsroom is basically going to be like a twice a month, like every, bi-weekly, we're going to have a thing where people can come in and chat. And it's basically like a real life. I don't know if this is on Zoom or real life, but it's just like a schmooze thing where you go and you talk to people on network or whatever. And hopefully it would include some policymakers or policy wonk guys, think tank people, lawmakers, other creators, whatever, yeah.
Expertise and experiences are relevant to Chorus's progressive policy agenda. Contractor agrees to 1, utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements, 2, disclose to Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or others on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda. Contractor arranges through other mediators, I don't know, collaborations, and then I can't read the rest because it's obscure.
Yeah, so this contract
but is this not saying that you do have to disclose it, but what they're saying is that there's a good reason or a compelling reason to do that?
Sorry, what? Disclose to Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials. That to me suggests that before you book the room for engagements with government officials or on topics related to our platform policy agenda or whatever the policy agenda is, that you let the Chorus newsroom staff know. So I didn't get your question.
Because what is it? Let me go back to the article. I remember somebody mentioned like Mamdani. Everyone's talking about this. Mamdani. No, this was definitely in the article. Or oh wait, they put still run maybe. Yeah, many creators express concern about some stipulations. According to copies of the contract reviewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. Creators also have to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political leaders. If I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with them, said one creator who was offered the contract.
That's,
but ultimately
that's
declined
that
to take
creator's
it.
interpretation of what the contract says. But
Right, which is what she's reporting on. If I get Zoran and he asks and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't
Aaron is so snarky, okay? Listen. I think it's funny, but
want to give that to them. So they can't use like any resources or whatever without
Well, let's read the
authorization
contract.
from Chorus. Well, it's hard to read it because of this. But like that to me, you asked me
true!
like, okay, what's like the problem here or whatever is like once you become affiliated with this program, does that prevent you from reaching out to like, let's say I want to reach out to Rokana on my own. If Chorus learns that I did that without ever cluing them in, am I going to get in trouble?
I think
If you don't clue them in, yes, because it seems like there is a disclosure requirement here. However, I would be shocked, and it could just be a shittily written contract. Trust me, those exist. But I would be shocked that it was supposed to be exclusive, and the word exclusive is just not used in here. You would absolutely see this under subsection 104, that you would exclusively utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements. You would exclusively, and also there would be no disclosure here required at all, because you wouldn't be disclosing anything to them. You would be arranging everything through them, right?
Me
No.
taking that stipend per month, and then maybe I use that.
Pisco actually makes a good point here. This section was probably there to be like, let us know so we don't double book the room for the same time slot. It could be for a whole bunch of different reasons, right? It could be for a million different reasons. It might be, yeah, that let's say that they do a newsroom, and let's say that you get really lucky and, Bernie Sanders is there, and let's say like 17 content creators are part of these like newsrooms, and they see him and like, oh shit, I want to arrange some kind of sit down interview with Bernie Sanders. Rather than going to a newsroom and then you're some lawmaker and now your office is getting swamped with every single involved creator saying like, oh, I want to interview, right? If you run this through Chorus first, especially if they're providing you the opportunities to meet these people, they might say, hey, you know what? We've got a lot of you guys that want to do this. It would be better if we just set this up as some kind of like event or something, rather than, because then what's going to happen is every single time you bring in somebody to one of these rooms, they're going to get, mobbed by any other creator involved trying to set stuff up on their own stream or whatever, That could be one of like many reasons why you'd want to do this. Yeah, let's say that if Chorus has plans in the future to set up some big event with AOC, and one creator is like, oh, I'm setting up a huge event with AOC. They might just want to know that because it's going to be too much double booking, or like it just won't work, or even for their own calendar information. Like there's a whole bunch of reasons why you could have this here, right? We just don't know. Let me use the rest of my, hold on 1 second. Ooh, okay.
towards content, whether they know it or not, or whatever that I created with Rokana without ever cluing them in, am I going to be in violation of this contract?
Doubtful. But do you think that like David Pakman is going to be reporting to
A powerful
to Brian Tyler Cohen every time he books a fucking politician? You think that like
Wait.
David Pakman is going to be reporting to Brian Tyler Cohen every time he books a fucking politician? You think that like they're expecting people like Aaron Parnas to every time he's like talking to
I don't know. I was
a
surprised that
politician?
David Pakman is part of this program and all, and I don't know to what extent
Well, we
that
can
he is,
ask-
because he says that he's like a mentor, not like a creator in it, that he like helps mentor these people. So I don't know like what his stipend looks like. He probably has a different contract from all of these people as somebody who is a mentor rather than a creator.
Well, I don't know,
part of it,
but it says disclose to course newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or play the video and see if she moves her head.
Sure.
Literally have the contract right here. I'll talk through it in a minute.
Okay.
But first, let me show you this. Here's an email of me directly reaching out to the Zoran
Okay, go.
So this is her,
campaign to try to interview him. His course does not control who I interview or what I post. I also sometimes text the comms directors directly of like Congress people that I want to interview, because usually the congressional.
Wait, what is Pisco even getting mad about here? Or what is there a point in here worth watching, or what?
That's not my.
What are you doing?
Says policy agenda. That contractor, that's me, I'm the contractor, arranges through other means, right? So if I just arrange it myself with a congressperson, I just let Chorus know so that
Okay,
they know that
I mean,
congressperson's open to booking and other people in Chorus can do it.
So this does seem to require potentially her interpretation of it is it requires disclosure. Wait, go back real quick. I just want to read the text.
So accidentally,
On topics related to course policy agenda, the contractor arranges through other means to tell them when you arrange engagements with government officials or on other topics related to course policy agenda. So I might read this as being limited to engagements that are, booking engagements through the course newsroom, given the,
Aaron argues that Taylor is right and Pisco is trying to change her mind. Well, Taylor is wrong, but Taylor's position is not that you have to inform people. Taylor's position is that you basically aren't allowed to do it. You're restricted from organizing it on your own. That was Lorenz's point in the article, I think.
contractual language here. I don't know what the intent was behind this provision. I think it's arguably ambiguous that, maybe this applies to other kinds of bookings. If they're suggesting, if it's the case that Chorus is asking for them to like give them all of their contact information of people that they engage with government officials, I think that's bad. But I don't think that's the only way to read this provision of the contract. That's just me.
No, it's not. But what you have is a bunch of laymen who are presented with a contract, and they said like, well, even if you interact with a lawyer and you want to like redline certain things, it's not going to happen. So
That's a lie, though. That's clearly a lie. I hope Pisco brings it up, because the first part of this article shows that people were literally given the opportunity to redline. That's why they had a revised contract. That's what a revised contract is. It's a redline contract. So that claim from later on in the article is inconsistent with what's earlier in the article.
you have a bunch of creators that are just
We should
reading
ask Brian. We should ask Brian.
And is he a friend of yours?
No, he's not a friend. Well, I mean, we're friendly, but I don't know.
Does he mean Prime Kai?
I wouldn't describe him as a friend. I mean, would you describe like?
Destiny, do you think Taylor is going after them, not because of any creator ethics, but because of the Israel-Gaza angle? I think Taylor's going after them because, isn't she? Oh, he said Brian. I feel like she's more part of the leftist coalition. Remember, the leftist coalition, when giving advice to liberals, is not there to help liberals, is there to destroy liberals and to tear them down or to turn them into leftists. One of the things that I said when I was talking to that Brad Taste in Music or whatever, is if you have issues in your life relating to how you view yourself or relating to self-esteem or whatever, if you are trying to figure out how to make improvements in your life, one thing that can be important sometimes, especially if you're getting a lot of negative feedback from other people around you, is make a list of the people in your life that you care about and that you think care about you. And then take their criticisms or advice to heart and ignore everybody else. The reason why is because the people criticizing you that are closest to you, 1, have your best interest in mind, 2, know you the best, so they can give you, and then 3, because they know you the best, they can give you the correct advice. They know you the best, they can give you the best advice. And then 3, I think because of the first 2, their criticism always comes from like a good place, like it's constructive criticism, right? People closest to you are giving you, they know you the best. They are, because they know you the best, they love and appreciate you, they can give you the best advice, and the good advice is to be constructive. Like I said, we went through how this article lays out the issue with this group. The prescription, in my opinion, that Taylor Lorenz is giving in this article is the quote from V. Speher, which is basically saying that these middlemen groups shouldn't exist. The goal is to destroy this group because it's a liberal group. That's it, in my opinion. The last part is conjecture for me, but it's because they're not on the same team. Yeah. You are not, remember, if you're a liberal, you're not on the same team as a socialist. You're not even really peripherally related. They're more aligned with the far right aspects, trying to destroy any liberal groups than they are with you trying to do anything.
I don't know. Wick TV as a friend?
Sure.
Wick TV as a friend of yours?
Work buddy, I don't know. Yeah.
Would you describe, I don't know, what's another fucking example? Would you describe, let me think. I don't even know, a good analog. Yeah. All right, keep playing.
What? Did you think I was going to say no, Wick's not my friend, or what?
I thought you were going to say, no, Wick's not my friend.
No, Wick and I are cool. We're friends.
Okay.
I'd say that we're friends, yeah.
I always forget to let chorus know. Like, I don't think I've ever told them that before, but that's not what's important. What's important is that they're literally acknowledging here that you can book it yourself. And the fact that the person who wrote this article claims to have read through the entire contract, but like here it is clearly written that what you stated in your article was categorically false. Like that is quite concerning about your journalistic integrity.
Can you pause real quick?
These contracts are long
So,
and confusing.
let's see what Lauren. Wait, is it Lauren? I can't even. My brain is.
Lorenz.
My God, Taylor Lorenz. I'm crazy. Let's see what she said specifically about this. The newsroom and
you
about
said
the.
Lauren?
Yeah, I don't know when I said that.
Well, because she's Lorenz, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Lauren. But I mean, I don't know. Your tone just like dropped a lot. You just chilled the fuck out a lot.
No, I'm just tired of you. Like, I'm so tired of your shit. I'm exhausted by
Okay,
your shit.
but I'm wondering, like, again, you were kind of gung ho based off what you had seen so far. That like, no,
I think it's super
that's, wait,
dishonest.
hold on.
Yeah.
Then you can scream. That you were insistent that like, no, I don't think that this contract forbids them from engaging, like trying to interact with other politicians without disclosing or letting chorus know, like, hey, I'm doing engaging, like, then you can scream. That you were insistent that like, no, I don't think that this contract forbids them from engaging, like trying to interact with other politicians without disclosing or letting chorus know, like, hey, I'm doing this of my own volition or whatever.
Well,
if they're going to be using chorus's like assets, any equipment in their room, that would make sense to me that they're like, we have to be clued in on this because we're like integral to the logistics of that happening. Right?
Hang on. So I
don't think that reading is necessarily correct either, but
I would, if I were these people, like, given the context of this like, booking engagement section, that it seems to be relevant to the chorus newsroom. And so I wouldn't like, and it seems like the common practice is like they're not actively sending, at least the course of dealing, right? The course of how they're proceeding isn't to like let chorus know every time they talk to someone. So, that seems to be either she thinks she's violating the contract. I wouldn't read it that way. I don't know if that's the best way to read it, but even put that aside. Look at what
she thinks she's not violating it. She's like, they don't control who I talk to because that gives me reaching out to Zoran and it's fine.
So Taylor Lorenz, this is how she says it. Creators also have to loop chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political.
that last sentence might be true, but Pisco should focus on the one before, because the one before is clearly not true. Creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through chorus. That statement I don't think is defensible. I think that's a very bad reading, or unless there's some part of the contract that I haven't seen. That statement, and based on what we have seen, that statement just appears to be completely not true.
Leaders. Now, when she says loop chorus in, what do you think is a normal?
Oh no. The statement right before is the stronger statement.
Understanding.
No, that is true. That is true. Like when I'm paying attention to like the brass tacks of the language that she used to characterize what the creators reported to her, she did say that she does not say it was this creator's interpretation that based on the language they viewed in the contract that they would need to do this to be in compliance with it. She is saying that's what they interpreted and that's my interpretation of this contract. That if they do not do that.
No, I agree with what you just said, right? But like, even just look there. Creators also have to loop chorus in on any independently organized engagement with the government officials or political leaders. That I think.
Wait, I didn't.
That based on the language they reported to her, she did say it is true. That is true. Like when I'm paying attention to
chorus in, what do you think is a normal understanding?
No, that is true. That is true. Like when I'm paying attention to like the brass tacks of the language that she used to characterize what the creators reported to her, she did say that she does not say it was this creator's interpretation that based on the language they viewed in the contract that they would need to do this to be in compliance with it. She is saying that's what they interpreted and that's my interpretation of this contract that if they do not do that.
No, I agree with what you just said, right? But like, even just look there. Creators also have to loop chorus in on any independently organized engagement with the government officials or political leaders. That I think leaves the notion that they're forcing chorus to be a middleman in all these communications, right?
That's what the earlier sentence means. That's what Taylor's implying about the funnel all bookings. That's the funnel word is a big one here.
Looping someone into a communication means including them typically, right? Or I don't know how you
not
use
necessarily. At least notifying them.
Oh no, Pisco should be fighting on this earlier sentence, not this last one. This last one is probably true, but the one before it is the offending one.
That you have an obligation to notify them that if you want to talk to Rokana, that, if I am a creator in this program and then I decide I want to interview Richie Torres, that before I go do that, I have to ask chorus for permission to.
I don't believe you have to ask them for permission to. That's not written anywhere here.
Or I have to disclose that I'm doing that to.
Disclosure is correct. Seems to be more correct there.
Them.
But hang on a second. So before that it says, according to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in this program must funnel all bookings through chorus.
That's good. That's the incorrect statement.
That's not true. The contract clearly anticipates independently obtained, even if you read it in the way that I think that you don't need to read it, but even if you read it that way.
Pisco is correct here. The contract, this is why I'm saying, when I say what would be the point of this second statement, Pisco is saying the contract seems to anticipate independent bookings. That's true.
It's not the case that creators in the program must funnel all bookings through chorus. Because it says...
Well, the thing is, the thing in the contract, it says on topics related to chorus's policy agenda, but I don't do they mean by chorus's policy agenda? That's
irrelevant to what the point Pisco just brought up.
They mean if you ever want to talk to a politician about things that they have stated, which is like the racial justice thing, affordable healthcare, etc., or is it only when you are explicitly stating like, no, chorus's policy agenda, not just these policy items? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Let's do one thing at a time. I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm not seeing how it's responsive to
it's not responsive.
Contradiction that I'm trying to show you. So the contradiction I'm trying to show you is in the article, quote, according to copies of the...
Oh, look, he even goes at a contradiction. This number 4 here. This is a contradiction. Lorenz claims a copy of the contract forbade creators from independently organizing their own content with lawmakers/political leaders, but then it also says they have an obligation to inform chorus of said independently organized events. How can both these be true at once? They can't be. This is a contradiction. Doesn't make any sense.
Contract viewed by Wired. Creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through chorus. Here,
right.
it specifically lists at least 2 categories of carve-outs, right? So go back to the video. One category of carve-out where they don't have to disclose to chorus and they don't have to channel through is if it doesn't relate to chorus's, it's categorical with government officials. But so the one category is when a contractor arranges this meeting through other means. So by definition, it means that the contract anticipates bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through other means, not through chorus.
Correct. That's inarguable, unless there's something else released that I haven't seen.
So that's a contradiction, right? Like, it can't be the case that they must funnel all bookings, but that some bookings need not be funneled. That's the contradiction. Taylor is saying that all bookings need to be funneled through chorus, but the contract clearly anticipates.
I'm going to break my desk if Aaron tries to argue what the definition of the word funnel is. I feel like that's where we're going. She's going to argue, well, funnel just means loop in. No, but she won't do that. That would be insane.
That there will be engagements that the contractor can arrange through other means. And so it can't be the case that all bookings must be done through chorus.
Well, I do want to point out what somebody else said. This is like one part of the contract, so there could be other language elsewhere within this contract that pertains to this that affirms what Taylor wrote for the Wired article. The other thing is, like, I'm tripped up on this. This disclosed to chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials, full stop, or others on topics related. And so it's like, isn't just I don't know that this really, this additional thing really negates the fact that, like, if they're saying any engagements with government officials, is that not saying anything?
Yeah.
Disclosed to chorus newsroom personnel any engagements. In my opinion, the way that you would read this is by the way, I'm going to give you one way you could read this. There is an actual correct answer, okay? There is actually a correct answer. Just like there's a correct answer to what is it? What's that stupid math problem that people like do? Is it this stupid shit? No, it's written some other way or whatever. The correct answer to this is the same as the correct answer to this, okay? So when this says, this is how I would read this, all right? Disclose to chorus newsroom personnel any engagements. Okay, so disclose to the chorus newsroom personnel. Okay, what do we have to disclose? Okay, we need to disclose any engagements with government officials or others. Okay, so we have to disclose engagements. Engagements with who? The engagements are with government officials or others. Okay, on topics related to chorus's policy agenda, okay, that contractor arranges through other means. Okay, so we have to disclose to, we can almost delete this if we want for clarity, okay? We have to disclose to the chorus newsroom personnel any engagements on topics related to chorus's policy agenda that we arrange independently. That's basically what this means, right? The actual answer to this question, though, is if this is like a huge, massive fucking deal, like your whole livelihood revolves around organizing these types of events, or if you've got some math assignment or whatever, or some huge engineering problem and you're given information like this, the actual answer is get clarity. You could argue that maybe this is written unclearly. Disclose to the chorus newsroom personnel any engagements. So what do we have to disclose? We have to disclose engagements with government officials or others on topics related to chorus's policy agenda. Is this like, so not government officials, but just anybody with, like, you can argue that maybe this is like kind of unclear. If it's unclear, then you just ask for clarification. You email and you ask for clarification. You don't try to solve this on your own and figure out like, okay, well, hardcore, you email them and you ask, hey, can I get some clarification on this? And you can suggest revised language if you want. You can ask them for a revision if you want. That would be the actual answer instead of trying to guess.
I'm not sure. To me,
that's why it's ambiguous to me, and it's really hard to tell. And I honestly don't think so. Even if you disagree with this interpretation, I don't think it's necessarily dishonest to interpret it in that way.
Wait, no, I think it's because
you do.
It is absolutely dishonest. Yes, it is dishonest.
You don't.
Yeah, I do think it's dishonest. So I'll explain why. So
no, because I feel like to me they're saying that, like, she was saying like, no, we don't do that, but it's like, oh, we do, but there's a reason to do it.
No, I don't think that's what's going on. So let me try to explain. So sub 4, book engagements. Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators with government officials, policy and nonprofit experts, and, quote, others whose expertise.
What was the answer to the math? The answer to the math question is nobody uses that fucking division sign for anything. You should never be using it for anything. And if you have a problem written like that, you should ask for it to be written in a better manner. That's what you should say.
And experiences are relevant to Chorus's progressive policy agenda. And so that's saying an obligation of Chorus is to provide this newsroom. Contractor agrees to actually use the newsroom to disclose to the newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or others on topics related. So the government officials, right? So it doesn't include policy and national policy and nonprofit experts, right? So before in the book engagement section, there's government officials, policy and nonprofit experts, and others. So I don't know if this is a fucking drafting error, who the fuck made this fucking contract or whatever, whoever made it, but there's not parallelism on that. But just note that any engagement with government officials or others on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda that contractor arranges through other means. So there's a utilization requirement that the contractor has to use the Chorus newsroom. They have to disclose to Chorus newsroom some amount of stuff, and they have to collaborate with respect to certain engagements. I think that's best read as pertaining to the Chorus newsroom, right? Like, do we really interpret this contract to be creators need to like disclose to Chorus every time they have an engagement with an other on a topic related to Chorus's policy agenda? Like, so when I'm talking to Straighter Aid, because you're other, right? You're like, you're not a government official, you're not a policy nonprofit expert, but you're an other. Are we really interpreting this contract to require disclosure to Chorus newsroom personnel, right? Not Chorus, but Chorus newsroom personnel with you, because you're an other, on a topic related to your policy agenda that I.
Pisco's reading of this is almost certainly accurate. Like, imagine that that's the contract and you've got 90 people signed, and then like on day 3 of your organization, you've got 782 emails, and some guy emails, I'm going to be on a WIC panel discussing things with others about stuff that's related to you guys. I'm talking to my mom tomorrow on my TikTok and she's an other, and it's about policy. Like, Pisco's reading of this is almost certainly accurate, yeah.
Would be required to disclose that to Chorus if I were a member of Chorus program? I don't think so. I think that this
is the only part of the contract that pertains to the booking engagements and the relationship that they have entered into between Chorus as far as disclosure with any other engagement that they have with the politician or whatever, then I would agree with you. But I don't know, because this is only one part of the contract.
I'm reading this. I don't agree with this person's reading. I'm reading this as about the section about booking engagement. Now, Chorus has coordinators who will book and engage for the newsroom, right? So the newsroom is a thing, and Chorus has hired officials to coordinate booking and engagement. And they're saying, you need to tell us when you're going to use this Chorus newsroom on anything related to our topics or with other government officials. And if you book to use the Chorus newsroom not through our booking coordinators, you need to let us know for the Chorus newsroom. I would read this as limited to booking engagements specific to the Chorus newsroom. And I think more evidence of that is the fact that who are you disclosing to? You're disclosing to Chorus newsroom personnel. So why would you disclose to Chorus newsroom personnel engagements you're having that don't pertain to Chorus newsroom? It just doesn't seem like. I think the best reading of this contractual provision is, well, if
there are 2 reads to this. You can read this as Pisco is reading it, which sounds reasonable, and it sounds like you would have an organization that would do this, or you could read this in the other way, in where you're reading this as literally like a shadow octopus organization trying to squeeze the life out of every single creator that joins and restrict them from being able to have any conversation with any person ever unless they're directly being controlled by Chorus through the newsroom. Like, that's a ridiculous. Pisco is correct to call it bad faith. It's not an incorrect reading, and it's not an alternative interpretation. That's just a bad faith reading of this. That would be a ridiculous reading of this.
You're not coordinating booking through our coordinated booking officials. You need to let us know if you're arranging privately to bring them to the Chorus newsroom if they are, talking about things that relate to our policy agenda or government officials.
That's the thing. Let me give you an alternative perspective, because this is what's tripping me up. So if it touches Chorus's agenda, then this language from this...
She's making it sound like if it has literally anything to do peripherally with anything ever written as part of the... I don't know.
Contract seems to say that you must report it. And keep in mind, their agenda, hold on. No,
and she's going to go to the overly broad agenda peripherally that could be related to basically any topic ever.
Healthcare, maybe? Here's their, this is the 1630 fund agenda. I don't know what Chorus's policy agenda is, right? But they're saying that if the conversation that you intend to have with this government official that you contact of your own volition is going to touch on Chorus's agenda, then you must report it. And it doesn't matter if Chorus helped you set it up or not, you have to let them know. So, if I'm trying to think of what is a practical example of what this might look like, if I'm an LA resident, right, and I go to a local city council meeting, and they're going to talk about zoning, and I want to talk with the mayor who's present at the city council meeting or with the city council person about the zoning laws, and even if I set this up myself, if zoning laws are part of Chorus's...
This is a bad faith reading. This is not real. I can't believe this is like arguing to argue because you hate the liberal organization, you want to see it fail. No sane human being would ever read this contract that way. It would be unsustainable as an organization. It would be a ridiculous demand to place on people, probably unenforceable. I don't even know what mechanisms you'd have to punish people. It would be overly burdensome for every party involved, right? This is just an unbelievable reading of this provision. Unless you think it's literally like an evil organization trying to destroy, content creators. This is not a good faith reading.
policy agenda, do I now need to tell Chorus about this interaction because that touches on Chorus?
She's doing this purposely, right? There's no way she actually believes this. Well, remember, Aaron is part of like the Taylor Lorenz, Hassan, ML, whatever that party. So they want to see these organizations fail. They want to destroy these organizations. The goal isn't to improve or better. The goal is to tear down and destroy, because these people are dogmatically and fundamentally opposed to liberals in every form. So it makes sense that her criticism like this is going to be the same as Taylor Lorenz, where the prescription is the destruction of the organization.
Versus policy
Fuck
agenda.
no, I don't
need
think so
to
at
know
all.
what their policy agenda is or how expansive it is.
Let's be realistic.
Pisco is correct. This isn't an alternative, and I said this before, it's not an alternative reading. It's not like a misunderstood reading. This is a bad faith reading. There's no way that you can critically engage with this topic and think that that would be the expectation. That's just ridiculous.
About this interaction because that touches on Chorus's policy
Fuck
agenda.
no, I don't
need
think so
to
at
know
all.
what their policy agenda is or how expansive it is.
Let's be
Because,
realistic.
but if that's the case, can you understand how I can see that, like, no, they functionally are mandating that you disclose almost every interaction that you have with the politician.
I think
Like, just think about that. Like, overly burdensome, unenforceable. What's the penalty? Like this is ridiculous. Like,
based on a bad reading of this clause, right? Like,
I don't even like that Pisco said that. Bad reading. It's not even a bad reading. That would just like, that's on its face absurd and ridiculous.
Start off by saying that we're going to provide contractors, right? Contractors aren't necessarily. Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom, which introduces the notion of a Chorus newsroom, and where the Chorus newsroom has personnel to coordinate booking and engagement opportunities. I think if you were to read it the way that you're suggesting, where you're going to a local government official to talk about zoning, which is part of, let's say, the progressive agenda, because it's part of
policy agenda.
Right. So to think that Chorus is wanting to micromanage even an interaction outside of the Chorus newsroom with these people, I think that's fucking an insane reading of this provision.
Yeah, micromanage all of it. Overly burdensome is what I'm saying. Yeah, that would just be, and you just imagine the emails. Like, imagine that. It would just be insane, you know?
I think this
So
is
if
about...
Chorus tried to argue that that's what they were attempting to do to a creator that had done exactly what I said, and they said, you're in violation of your contract because you did this, you would say that that is not a valid way to enforce the contract.
No.
Well, no. The answer is what I said earlier. If you think there is some ambiguity there, which you can argue there might be some ambiguity, you clarify. Easy. You clarify. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's not valid. I think that what they were planning to do, I think the honest to God reason why this provision is in there is because
the reason why this provision here, without reading the rest of the contract, I could be wrong, but it almost certainly seems to me to be because you don't want to have a huge overlap of everything going on, because it makes you look like a joke. Right? Imagine if I'm running a huge org and I want to get Bernie Sanders to talk to all of my people, and Bernie Sanders joins us for a newsroom thing, and then the day after, like 32 people independently, start hitting him up for interviews and shit, and I find out that like 7 of them have scheduled interviews across the month, and I also want to set up another event, and then while trying to set it up with Bernie Sanders, he realizes, or his staff realizes, hold on, wait, we already have like 3 other events set up with people in your thing. Are you guys like organized at all? You seem like a fucking disaster, right? That you want some level of coordination here. It just makes you look unprofessional and stupid. Yeah.
they don't want you bringing government officials on Chorus newsroom without like prior authorization, not even authorization, prior notice. Like, we want to know whenever you bring in a government official on, into the Chorus newsroom, we want like a heads up before you bring in a government official or someone, or if you're talking about something.
I think that it's a little more broad than what Pisco is saying. Or maybe not. Pisco maybe would agree. If it has to do with people who you meet in the newsroom, you should also give them a heads up if you're going to schedule content with them as well. But
we want to know whenever you bring in a government official on, into the Chorus newsroom, we want like a heads up before you bring in a government official or someone, or if you're talking about something pertinent to our agenda. I think that that's what the purpose of this is for, is to micromanage, or not even micromanage, but at least have some fucking control over what happens in our newsroom, not you having a fucking, I mean, this really, if you interpreted it the way that Taylor is suggesting, you would be interpreting this to mean like anytime I talk to an other, remember, quote, other, about a topic related to Chorus, that means I would have to disclose to Chorus every time I'm fucking talking to you about something in the fucking Chorus agenda book. You get me? Because you're an other, right? So that can't be what they're suggesting, right? They can't be suggesting that every time that you interact with an other person and have a public engagement,
well, wait.
You're supposed to disclose to the newsroom.
You're presupposing that this is necessarily the section that Taylor is characterizing in this article. It may not be, because we haven't seen
oh my God. This is almost certainly the section she's characterizing.
the whole contract.
Okay, maybe not, but this seems to be the most pertinent section about.
Again, I'd be surprised. I don't know if anybody's released any info about this. I'd be surprised if those contracts more than like 10 pages, but
disclosing things with government officials.
This is the only thing that we've seen, and this is what this creator is saying that it pertains to, but we don't know until they show the whole contract.
If this is it, right? This ain't it. Like this to me, it would be such a ridiculous reading of this contract, right?
It would be.
And
I do, because I think the or others thing really undermines the idea that you would need to involve them in every single communication, because it would be literally so encompassing that it's micromanagement, unenforceable. It's not a reasonable way to interpret this.
So insane. Yeah. So I want to make sure, Aaron, I know you understand. I just want to make sure the audience understands.
Policy agenda?
I don't know, but I just want to make sure that the audience understands. So Aaron understands for sure. This is what I'm suggesting, right? If you read this as pertaining to things outside of the Chorus newsroom, because this disclosure requirement applies to both government officials or to, quote, others, right? Others, that would include, on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda, that would include, if it's unconnected to the Chorus newsroom, basically any interaction with any person that relates to whatever Chorus's progressive policy agenda is, which is probably like anything related to national politics right now, right? I'm sure they have things on healthcare, have things on fucking, democracy, on things on cost of living. So are we really to interpret this provision as requiring specific disclosure, not to Chorus generally, but to Chorus's newsroom, right? The specific people running the Chorus's newsroom on your interactions, an interview that you have with your grandma about what she's doing with the cost of living, that's really what you think this provision is suggesting? Or is the better way to interpret is if you're coming
to create content with them,
yeah, if you're making like an interview with your grandma to talk about
he even uses, I said, an interview with your mom. Yeah.
of living. Like, did you have to disclose the newsroom? No. Or is the better way to interpret this provision as, hey, if you're coming on stream at all to talk to any government official at all, you need to let us know on the news.
Oh, shit. Wait. Whoo! You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Destiny, Regard here. Earlier you mentioned they should be careful of a part that they said they wouldn't typically enforce. You said you should read contracts assuming worst case. Where's the line? Can somebody in YouTube chat help this guy figure out what the answer that I've given like 20 times about what you would do with this line? Ask for clarification. Good job. Yes, you get clarification. And if you want protection, right, the email should be enough. But if you want protection, you would ask for a clarification and you would ask for a revision in the contract. You'd say, oh, okay, I understand how you mean this now. Could you write that a bit more clearly in the contract? And then I feel more comfortable signing it or something like that. Or you could suggest your own revision if you want. But that's what you would do. Yeah.
Newsroom. And if you're coming to the newsroom to talk about anything related to our policy platform, as opposed to maybe some fun thing that you're doing, you got to let us know and give us some disclosure. That, I think, is the much better reading in a section that's called booking engagements. All right. I think that to imply otherwise would be such a far-reaching implication here.
It would be insane.
I almost don't know if it would be enforceable to apply us. I mean, it's just so broad.
Maybe by Chorus's policy agenda, they mean that if you intend to name drop Chorus or invoke Chorus's proprietary policy agenda, like
now you're reading in something that's way different, I think.
Chorus TM, then you would have to include them in even if it's a conversation with your grandmother.
No. It's saying topics related to Chorus's policy agenda. It's not saying on Chorus's policy agenda. It's on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda. And that certainly includes topics, if all it means is like minimal relation, like something that's related to it, like why wouldn't it include the political ideas that underpin the policy agenda? Chorus's lawyer responded to this in the corrections. Wait, Faith, do you have a
They're not corrections, they're updates. She hasn't corrected anything to my understanding.
Do you have a link to that, Faith? Anyway,
I mean, well, is it a bad faith assumption on our part to assume that or others could literally mean any other person and not just a person that might in some way be related to Chorus's work potentially?
No, I think that others means other person.
Like maybe really screaming.
Book a guest. Like when I book a guest, I'm arranging with that person to like.
Oh my God, they're still going through this.
Going to be done through the other means. That is to say, with the creators themselves. Otherwise, there wouldn't be. It's not saying that you have to book through our.
What is
Chorus newsroom?
What is funneled versus disclosed?
Oh my God.
No, she did it. No, I have to break my desk now. No, she did it. No. Any reading of the word funnel here by any human being would mean that it must go through them. Nobody, no sane human being would ever independently interpret funnel to just mean disclose. Never.
All officials or on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda. All I'm suggesting is that sub 2 is necessarily implying that the bookings are going to be done through the other means, that is to say, with the creators themselves. Otherwise, there wouldn't be. It's not saying that you have to book through our.
What is
Chorus
funneled?
newsroom.
What is funneled versus disclosed?
Oh my God.
No, I'm asking you.
Funnel clearly
states that you have to do it through them. You basically have to give them everything. I have to funnel all of my communications together. I have to hand this off to you. That's what funnel means. Anybody would read funnel here in that manner.
Through Chorus, the clear implication here is that the bookings need to be done through Chorus. That is to say, they must, all
Correct.
bookings, right, need to be done with Chorus involved in the booking itself.
Yes.
But of course, booking, notifying isn't the same as booking, right?
Right.
I book, what do you think it means to book a guest? Like when I book a guest, I'm arranging with that person to like, this is when you want to come
Meet
in.
them at a
come
particular
here.
time.
Yeah, come in here. So it's not saying that you need to book through Chorus Newsroom. I'm saying you need to disclose to them. All right, I have a person coming in here at this time. And so the person doing the booking is the creator. The contractor is doing the booking.
Must funnel all bookings with lawmakers through Chorus.
So what they're suggesting here, even by the way, I think this only applies, I think the contractual provision that we're examining only applies to the Chorus newsroom. That's how I interpret it. I think that's the best way to interpret it. I think it's the clear intention behind what the...
I need to see, I can't even see this third clause for this section. Again, that we're presupposing is what she's characterizing in this article because we are not privy to the entire contract because no one released the whole fucking contract.
I think that this suggests that this is saying that you can't book anyone on a... Remember, this is, and there's a key, this is so deceptive, I think, that what Taylor's doing. She says government officials and political leaders, but that's not what clause number 2 says. It says others. It includes others. And so she doesn't include that there because it would sound ridiculous. Like, okay, from now on, all chorus creators need to funnel all of their bookings, right? And look what she says, all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders. But all this, that's not what it says. It's government officials, not political leaders or
You think
others.
she didn't include it because people would read it and they would get the impression like, or others. So they would, damn, really? They mandated everybody? And then people would be like, they'd go read the language and be like, doesn't that mean that, isn't it more reasonable to think that that's just not what they meant by that?
Because look at the term there. I mean, and I think that, again, this is assuming that this is the provision that she's looking at. I think that this is the most on-point provision, probably if unless this person's an idiot.
Well, we have nothing to compare it against or whatever, so we don't know that.
Whatever. But assuming that this is the provision that she's looking at, right? Assuming that she's looking at this provision, she says the words lawmakers and political leaders. This provision says government officials, quote, government officials or others. Why does she say lawmakers and political leaders if it's government officials or others? Presumably because if she says lawmakers and political leaders and excludes others, well, wait a second. They're saying all bookings for everything that they ever do on every other platform.
Why did she say funnel instead of book?
I think that she's being intentionally...
say funnel instead of book.
Why would she say funnel instead of book? Because it sounds bad to write, creators in the program must book all bookings. And funnel implies a greater degree of handoff than booking it yourself.
I think that she's being intentionally, in some cases, not aligning with contractual language and vague to imply something nefarious and suggesting that Chorus has more control than they actually do. That's what I think is going on. I think the best way to read this provision is that it's specific to the Chorus newsroom and anticipating that other content creators are going to use the newsroom for other stuff, right? This is a place where we want you to use it. If you're going to be part of the incubator program, we want to promote this newsroom. And part of it is you actually using it. So one, you have to use it. But if you're going to use it for these express purposes to talk to a politician, right, government, or someone on something related to our policy agenda, you got to disclose to us first, right? And note that, right? The fact that it's saying that there's a disclosure requirement for some bookings, but not for others, seems to suggest that it's more limited in terms of why, and it has to do with protection of the newsroom as opposed to trying to domineer and control every booking that the fucking that the thing. You understand?
I have a strategy that says I do understand, but the rebuttal I guess is I think that's a strategy. Who else would a political YouTuber or creator book for the newsroom if not political leaders?
So you could be using the newsroom for TikTok content, right? To be recording something with another content creator, right? You could be using the newsroom to do like a fun little dance, right? This is just for social stuff. You could be booking it to do. Maybe they use the newsroom for some social
and
stuff.
you wouldn't need to disclose that. Is what you're saying?
Why? No, not necessarily. You wouldn't, right? Like you wouldn't need to disclose using the newsroom if you're using it to do a little TikTok dance trend. You wouldn't need to disclose if you're talking to like a random someone about like culture. Let's say you're using the newsroom for some like culture thing because they want to be the Joe Rogan on the left. Like the mere fact, if they wanted to say.
Go through the bookers.
No. Again, the same thing applies.
How could they spend so much time on this?
Replace Chorus newsroom with
because if that's
Chorus
the case,
bookers.
then I actually think that her summation of this is correct. No.
Oh,
no, because funneling things through Chorus, right? Funneling bookings.
The Chorus newsroom, again, newsroom meaning
bookers.
employees and meaning bookers, effectively. Then again, must be disclosed.
No, but
let's go through them.
But that's not funneling.
Let's go through the bookers.
No. Again, the same thing applies. Arranging an engagement through other means you're not using the newsroom to book. It means you're booking. So the funneling, the booking is not happening through the Chorus newsroom.
No, you just have to disclose it necessarily. Like, you either utilize, again, wait, it's an either or thing, right? Like, contractor agrees to, one, utilize the Chorus newsroom, aka bookers, to book engagements, and then if you're not going to go through them, if you do it on your own, if you book on your own and you serve as your own newsroom, let us know.
Okay, so if that's what it means, then it puts to a lie the notion that all bookings need to be done through Chorus because other means.
But no, so it can be done by you, but you have to disclose to them.
But that's not funneling bookings through Chorus.
It functionally is if when they say you can do it yourself, but you just have to tell us, then you kind of do have to loop them in. No, that is funneling.
Looping? No. Oh my God, I would lose it.
And just keep in mind what I said before about the or others on topics. Are we meant to suggest?
That's not what that means. Wait, let me get a water 1 second.
That what Chorus wants you to do is anytime you book an engagement with someone on a topic related to Chorus's policy agenda, on a topic related to Chorus's policy agenda, that you need to let Chorus Newsroom, which are bookers, know about that. I think that's
so
if that's the case, that is an insane suggestion to do, and I would heavily criticize Chorus if that's the interpretation that they want to have for their contract.
Well, we need to clarify whether what newsroom means, because again, if it is those employees, then I actually do think that you do functionally have to funnel or like that disclosure or whatever. Like it's not inaccurate to say that you have to funnel them in and you have to clue them into every single thing that you're doing.
Funnel them in. Funnel them in. Do you see how she's like playing word games here? You have to funnel them in. Nobody uses funnel that way. What?
With a political leader or something like that.
You think funneling through is the same?
Okay, hear me out. The more I listen to this, the more I hear the overarching anti-liberal meta. This read of the contract is literally MAGA defense for Trump's January 6th speech and calling it peaceful. Again, not one-on-one, but the same broad meta strategy. I agree. I actually was thinking about this when I was driving home from Micro Center today. One of the reasons why all this online stuff has gotten so tiresome is that it's all about these like macro ideas and how much can you like molest the facts basically to fit whatever narrative you're trying to sell. Nobody actually gives a fuck about the underlying individual things anymore. Or nobody cares about being factually correct or the discrete truth of some individual propositions. It's just like how much can you basically how much can you use and abuse language in order to make something fit, right? It's just so stupid. It is so boring, it's stupid.
as disclosure. So if I have to let you know anytime I interact with a politician, hey, I interacted with them, I know that, is that funneling the booking through you? Or is that just letting you know?
I think that's funneling.
That she can't possibly believe that. Like, she's lying, right? She's engaged in the same destructive project that the tankies are engaged in. I mean, she is a tanky, and that that MAGA are engaged in. That's a lie. No reasonable, sane human being would ever interpret it that way, and nobody would ever use the word that way. That funneling through and disclosing to are equivalent or even similar in meaning.
A politician, hey, I interacted with them, I know that. Is that funneling the booking through you? Or is that just letting you know?
I think that's funneling. Effectively funneling.
That's fucking dumb.
It is dumb.
That's
like,
stupid.
I guess here's another, like to answer your question, although I do think that that's not the right question to be asking. Like, let's say that I'm your talent agency, or like, I'm your talent agent, okay?
Yeah.
And I say, Pisco, I'm going to book all engagements for your stream. Anyone that you have on is going to go through me. But if I'm not available, or you have the opportunity to book someone yourself, that's fine. You just always have to let me know and that you've done that, or that you're going to do that.
Sure, that's not funneling. That wouldn't be funneling. That would just be disclosing then.
Yeah. So I don't need to. So I am allowed to go book my own. I just gotta let you know about it.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so maybe like not funnel, but again, that disclosure loops chorus back in, or in this.
Looping somebody in has nothing to do with funneling. I wouldn't even use the term loop in because that's very deceptive here. At least in my personal experience, when you talk about looping people in, you're usually talking about including somebody in a project. When somebody uses that phrase, hey, can you loop me in on this? You could say, like, keep me in the loop. And even though that seems weird, I think those two things are quite different. Like, can you keep me in the loop? That means, like, keep me informed. But if somebody uses the phrase, maybe you guys can tell me, if somebody asks to be, like, CC'd on something, or somebody else asks to be looped in on something, in my world at least, every time I've seen that used, that generally means that they're going to be involved in some capacity, whether that's working, making decisions, or whatever else. That's not simply disclosure. That implies a greater level of involvedness.
Hypothetical loops the agent and the talent agency back in. So like the middleman is always present is the point, right?
That's not a middleman though. Middleman implies it's needed, it's necessary for the deal to go through. You don't need that person in that case. You're just disclosing to them. The middleman is not there because you're selling the deal on your own, and the money's going right to you.
In terms of them knowing about it, potentially. But again, this is interpreting Chorus Newsroom to not be a digital or physical space and to simply just be bookers and people who just do booking. If that's the case, then this disclosure requirement is anticipating individuals going and talking to politicians. And one reason that it might make sense for them as a content creator to do that is maybe to cross-promote this appearance or whatever, but it isn't saying that the Chorus needs to be CC'd on every interaction you have with a politician, which is what the implication is by Taylor. I think the clear implication of what Taylor's suggesting is they want Chorus CC'd.
Also remember, these strategies are always good because you're wasting time, right? Now, rather than criticizing the rest of Taylor's hippies, because it is hippies, rather than criticizing the rest of it, now you're hung up wasting time arguing this, which is not, this is not a real conversation right now, right? We're watching, I don't know if you'd call this like a simulacrum of a conversation. Like, Erin doesn't genuinely believe this. Like, I know Erin, right? I've known her for a long time. You all have seen her on stream. She's a smart person. She doesn't believe this. This is stupid. This is arguing to argue because you just want to, you're ideologically opposed. That's all this is.
On every engagement, right? Everything you're doing with these lawmakers needs to be done.
No, they have to be notified, not necessarily CC'd on every single thing.
Someone who reads this, according to copies of contract, creators must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. The implication they get is that Chorus is being CC'd, Chorus is facilitating, Chorus is engaged in the process.
I think that you're imparting too much on that. I don't think that you can read that into the requirement of disclosure. And also, like, if again, back into the talent agent thing, around the talent agent, would you even agree to terms like that with the talent agent that if you wanted to book somebody of your own volition outside of your talent agent's assistance, that you ought to have to disclose it to them if they do that?
It super depends on the relationship, but depending on how much they're booking for, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just providing that disclosure. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. No, of course not. I like how she's also trying to take all the moral gravity from the having to funnel them in on everything and then trying to shift it over to the disclosure, right? Well, wouldn't you think that if you had to disclose, that would be just as bad? That's basically what she just said. No, this is a totally different thing.
The requirement of disclosure. And also, like, if again, back into the talent agent thing, around the talent agent, would you even agree to terms like that with the talent agent that if you wanted to book somebody of your own volition outside of your talent agent's assistance, that you ought to have to disclose it to them if they do that? If you do that.
Wait. So if I have an arrangement with a talent agent.
Yeah, let's say you're assigned to the talent agency and you're assigned a talent agent, and they book guests for your stream. But then there is a provision within your contract that says there might be an opportunity that presents itself to Pisco, where you are able to network personally yourself. The agent doesn't need to do it for you.
Yes,
and you come face to face with Jake Tapper, right? And you book Jake Tapper for your stream. Do you think that you ought to have to disclose to them that you did that before?
Not only do you have to disclose to them, oftentimes you will have to funnel it to them, or you won't be allowed to do that. But it is for good reason. And the reason why is because if you're a talent agency and you're grabbing deals for people, you don't want talent. This is why it's generally an exclusivity arrangement. You don't want your talent to be scooping up your contacts from you. Because my talent agency probably gets paid This is how they make their money, is by arranging these meets. Let's say that my talent agency is able to get me a meeting with Jake Tapper. Let's say somehow or they set up some huge event or whatever. I get paid, 20 grand to do the event. They're probably getting some percentage of it. The money's coming from somewhere else. Well, let's say that they go to set this up with me and I'm like, you know what, actually, I'm going to go ahead and pass on that Jake Tapper event. Thanks, though. I appreciate you trying to set up. They're like, oh, okay. Then let's say I emailed Jake Tapper my own. I'm like, hey, we were just setting up an event. My talent agency was trying to do it before. Do you want to just do this like just us two? Let's just like figure this out on our own, okay? Fuck them, right? Me and now whoever I'm talking to can just bypass the talent agency that set up the event originally, and now you can set it up on your own. You're cutting them out of all the money that they probably rightfully, deserve if they're the one who are able to make these contacts for you. And this is why, generally speaking, it's not always the case, but generally speaking, talent agencies or any kind of contractor related. Actually, what I'm talking about is probably standard practice in the entire contractor 1099 world. Actually, Jesus, this was standard practice when I did carpet cleaning. I wouldn't be allowed to sell jobs out of my van or to sell jobs for me to come back personally to compete with my own business if I'm showing up as a contractor to do a carpet cleaning job at some site. If my boss caught wind of that, I would get fired for it. And he might even sue you for it. This is the basis for a lot of like non-compete stuff or not being allowed to do stuff. And it's fair. Like there would be no point. These middlemen would never exist to connect these people anyway, because you're always just going to get undercut by your talent, because now they could just bypass you as soon as you found them something worthwhile. Like, this is a totally fair and totally standard provision in any contract like this for any kind of agency that has exclusive access to you in terms of setting up these kinds of deals.
With Jake Tapper, right? And you book Jake Tapper for your stream. Do you think that you ought to have to like disclose to them that you did that
as
before or after you did so?
Yes, I'll tell you why. Yes, I'll tell you why. Because if you don't have that provision, you have
Oh my God! I hate Pisco so much, but I forget that he knows things and he is a smart guy. He's going to get this exactly. I know he's going to get this exactly.
the danger of A, double booking, or B, like if there's more than one people booking the same people and synergies, that could be yes, you don't want as a talent agent to have your...
Oh, fuck. He's bringing up 2 points that are kind of true. This is kind of true. The more important one is the one that I brought up, though. Although maybe it doesn't. Maybe he's not thinking because it doesn't apply as much here because maybe there's not as much money to set these up. But like in the sponsorship world, yeah, you can't just undercut an advertising agency or undercut a your exclusive talent agency. You can't do that. Otherwise, these people would never make money. You know,
the person that you're managing not be telling you who they're talking to. It can present huge problems because what happens. And by the way, I'm not going to disclose everything that happened here, right? But there were some moments, right, when we were interfacing with politicians where one part of what we were doing was talking to someone and another part was talking to someone else, and it was almost a train wreck. It was a huge problem that there was one.
Oh, I know exactly what he's talking about, but I won't disclose. I know exactly what he's referring to, and we fired people over this because it was a fucking clusterfuck. Because multiple people in the organization were trying to reach out at the same time, and then we were finding out, it's like, wait, what the? Excuse me, wait, what do you mean? There's already an event plan? We know it was a clusterfuck. Point of contact and having clear lines of communication. Once you reach an organization that's more than 3 members large, it's just essential. You have to have clarity on who's talking to who. There has to be clarity on who's allowed to arrange what. It can't just be every person for themselves because things just become a clusterfuck of connections.
Part of this politician talking to one person and another part of the politician's team talking to someone else. That creates huge problems of expectation. So if this is treated as like a talent agent situation, I do expect there to be disclosure so that people aren't double booking. And
so you're talking about for logistical purposes.
Yes.
But what if the purpose is to understand who are you talking to, like the identity of the person? It's not simply enough to say I'm talking to a person at a particular time. The talent agent says to you, well, who are you talking to? Do you think
that's almost as bad as Pisco's reading on Hassan's getting kicked out of Global Entry because they were politically partisan or whatever. That she's giving now. I'm glad she at least brought this up because this is getting into more honestly what she wants to say or what she believes in her mind. Erin believes that this is an evil, horrible, terrible organization, or that's how she wants to present it. That's trying to control and dictate who you're allowed to talk to. So if you were to say I'm going to talk to this person and they're like, oh, that's a socialist, you're not allowed to talk to them. This is what she's really getting at. We're getting so it only took an hour or whatever of debating to get here. Now we're getting more honest with what she's thinking. Yeah.
The identity of the person. It's not simply enough to say I'm talking to a person at a particular time. The talent agent says to you, well, who are you talking to? Do you think that you ought to have to disclose the identity of that person?
Sorry, you're asking me my preference in terms of...
Well, because you're presupposing that the reason why that's a reasonable thing to include is because they need to know for logistical reasons so that there's not conflicts, like time conflicts and stuff like that. But what if the reason, I wouldn't necessarily assume that that's the intention behind that clause in that contract. I would assume that they want to know the partisan affiliation and personalities that you're talking to.
I think they want to know. So
and if that's the intention, then I do think that that's more intrusive. And I also think look, past this, creators also have to loop chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political leaders. They'll loop chorus in. You don't think that that's accurate to say? They must be looped in.
Assuming
more accurate than
wait, well, hang on, because and this is what Chad says. Funneling implies a bottleneck such as review or approval. Disclosure does not. If she meant just disclosure, she would have said just disclose. I mean, I agree with that, number one. But
Correct.
Two, I think that contradicts, right? The fact that they're independently organized engagements.
Oh, Biggs is correct here. Funneling implies a bottleneck such as review approval. Actually, I would fight against that. Funneling, in my opinion, does not imply just a bottleneck. It is a bottleneck. Funneling to me implies handing that over. That's what funneling implies to me. And any contract ever, if I saw that language, that is immediately what I would assume. If somebody were to say, if you want to have, if I've had, I was on XQCs or whatever, and UTA. I've signed a ton of before. I've had exclusive arrangements and I've had non-exclusive arrangements, right? If I had an exclusive deal with a contract with a talent agency, and they said, if you have to funnel all sales deals to us, that doesn't mean I'm just CCing them on emails or keeping them informed. That means that I cannot sell my own deals. I can't sell my own activations. I have to. If somebody contacts me, I probably have an obligation to forward them and say, hey, if you want to book something with me, then email my talent rep and he can do it for you. That's what funneling means. Funneling does not mean loop in or disclose or whatever. Funneling means hand over. It means give it away. You can't do it. That's what funnel means. Anybody, I would be shocked if there was anybody that worked in any creative agency. I would be shocked if there was anybody outside of creative agency that read funnel in any different way. That's how everybody reads it. And by the way, that's how everybody's going to read it that reads this article. Even a layperson, I think, would read it that way.
Engagements contradicts the notion that all bookings must be funneled through Chorus. So I agree with you that the second sentence is more accurate if, by the way, the interpretation of Chorus Newsroom that you're providing, which they're just bookers, which again, I think that's weird, but maybe that's true. Who the fuck knows? Maybe that's what they call them, and then I think that's like a weird name for them. But if that's true, then that last sentence is a more correct statement. But even that, I think, is...
But you're taking funnel to mean that I agree that it would not be, like, funnel is distinct from disclosure.
Yes.
Funnel, I think,
because then your interpretation of you must necessarily CC all of this, I can see how you're getting that. If that's your understanding of funnel.
This is not a real debate.
Bookings through Chorus. So if I say funnel all your bookings through me, what do you take that to mean? Let me.
Funnel all your bookings through me means you can't exclusively book. If somebody emails you, if you want to send something, send it to me and I will do it. That's what funnel means. Full stop. Period. No other interpretation is correct there. If it is, you need to have your own dictionary that you bring. In most contracts, there's going to be a definition section or an appendix or an addendum, whatever the fuck it is, that'll define terms that are going to be commonly used. You need to redefine funnel to mean something totally different, because nobody else that signs these contracts, in my opinion, nobody else is going to read funnel as, oh, just keep me in the loop, let me know.
I can see how you're getting that. If that's your understanding of funnel.
Funnel bookings through Chorus. So if I say funnel all your bookings through me, what do you take that to mean? Let me know about them?
She's going to say yes, and that's not true. The reason why she has to pause for a second there is because she's actively supporting a lie. She's pausing because she's like, okay, hold on. Because she can't answer honestly, because she's like, obviously not. Or if you funnel it, does that just mean keep me? Obviously not. So she has to think, okay, what is the lie that I'm maintaining right now? Okay, and then this is the lie. That's why she has to pause to think, by the way. Let me show you the thoughts in real time, okay?
Bookings through Chorus. So if I say funnel all your bookings through me, what do you take that to mean? Let me know about them?
That was what my first impression was.
No, it's not. That's a lie. I've bet my whole life on it, my whole existence on it, every dollar I own, every camera I have set up in this apartment complex. Absolutely, that is not the case. Nobody would read it that way. That's insane.
No.
But now that you've explained that it could be this, the follow-up definition makes more sense to me.
And Aaron, if I said to you for this show,
like, it's more comprehensive than just that, obviously.
Oh wait, I think you can even. I'm trying to think earlier in this debate. Because wasn't she arguing for the stronger thing earlier? And now she's saying, oh, I see how you can read it this way. Wait, did that not happen earlier? Was she not arguing earlier that they seemed to have exclusive control over it? And that was the bad thing? And Pisco was like, well, I think that's not supported in the contract. And now she's saying, oh, I would have never even read it that way. After defending the earlier interpretation? That was what she was defending earlier, right? Oh, they would have exclusive things over others and every single person, right? Wait, so she just went from defending the stronger definition, and now that it's finally been broken down, now she's like, oh, I would have never even read it that way. But I could see maybe how fuck me, dude.
Like, yeah, it could entail, ongoing communication and CCing and all of that. Like, there's never any part of the communication that's going to go forward without their involvement.
Wait, hang on, Aaron. If I said to you need to funnel all bookings for Just Press Play through me, what would you take that to mean?
She has to think she's lying. These pauses are so long. I don't know if you understand how long these pauses are, because I'm on 1.5x. I'm going to redo this.
Like, there's never any part of the communication that's going to go forward without their involvement.
Wait, hang on, Aaron. If I said to you need to funnel all bookings for Just Press Play through me, what would you take that to mean?
Yeah, that you have to be involved, I guess, at every step.
Yes,
yeah.
I think that's what most people would take that to mean. And
okay.
Even the
second...
second...
Well, at first I'm saying...
He shouldn't have let that language pass, that you have to be involved at every step. No. Funnel is a handoff, in my opinion. That I shouldn't say even in my opinion. Funnel implies more than just involved. Funnel implies you're giving it to them.
I think that at first I wasn't thinking that that's what it meant. I was conflating it with just disclosure. But But now I do think that I think this is more, it's more like what you're saying.
Yeah, and also the second sentence isn't even accurate either because it is too under-inclusive, right? This says creators also have to loop course in on any independently organized engagement with government officials or political leaders. By not including others, by not including the others with the policy agenda, it appears to be suggesting a far too limiting scope of what in a way that seems to suggest that what Chorus is really interested in is its.
Pisco doesn't even have to argue this because that's what it goes on to say in the next paragraph. If I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with them, said one creator who was offered the contract but ultimately declined. If I get Zoran and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't want to give that to them. Give it to them. What did I just say? Why did I even waste my time? I should have just read the next paragraph. Give that to them. Give it. That's what funnel means. Give. Not, Aaron's going to be like, well, maybe he means give them a CC. Maybe he means give them a phone call and let them know.
Is these like political connections when it's much broader than that. It seems to be suggesting, if we take it at face value, that the course newsroom are just bookers.
Yep, which is exactly what it says in the next paragraph.
You want to know about any time you talk to someone.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, what the hell is the
policies.
difference between a booking and an engagement opportunity? What the hell is the difference between those two things?
What?
Wait. Booking and engagement opportunities.
Which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities. So what the hell is the difference between those two things?
Not exclusively coordinates. Not exclusively for the creator.
I think
What?
booking an engagement means.
Oh no.
They felt the need to delineate between these two things because now engagement could mean an informal chat. You know, that like happens to like versus a booking, which is like an interview maybe. I don't know.
But did she just say? Wait, did she say engagement could mean an informal chat? What?
They felt the need to delineate between these two things because now engagement could mean an informal chat.
Really?
You know, that like happens to like versus a booking, which is like an interview maybe. I don't know.
Not a very clear contractual provision, which coordinates.
Okay.
No, that's not a W for you because, like I said before, the actual response would be to clarify. You see clarification. Pisco's read of this is almost certainly correct. I would be shocked if he was incorrect in this, and if somebody were to come out and go, "Oh, we just wanted to clarify from chorus." We actually do want to know every single motherfucking person that you talk to that has literally anything to do with any political topic ever. In fact, that Instagram reel that you thought you posted only to your friends, when you asked your mom what she thought about Trump's whatever, you didn't disclose that to us. And now we're hitting you up with that fat $500,000 penalty that we hit at the end of our contract in an invisible link. Like, give me a fucking break.
So that because then you ask, which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators. So is it booking with government officials policy and than others, or is it just engagement opportunities for creators with government officials? So does booking and engagement?
And then there's collaborations. Look, collaborate fully. Like.
I just don't think that we should read this. I think that it's.
Suddenly we don't want to draw any conclusions. We don't want to conclude.
She's acting. She has no point. But no, she knows this because this is a game. Oh, it's a game. It's a game. Wait. It's a joke. This is a game. This is a joke. This is a joke. This is a joke. It's a joke. This is a game. She's having fun. Don't get rustled, guys. Don't let them rustle you, okay?
Stop laughing. Stop laughing like you're vindicated.
She's not. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not vindicated. No, I'm not vindicated. I just think that like that.
It's not even that you're not vindicated. You're dead fucking wrong. Because if it's unclear, why are we getting a news article on it? What is the point of journalism if not to clarify? Because they're the one presenting this, right, to us, the public, for consumption. If it's unclear, that's a loss. That's an L.
Pointing out that one detail, you already kind of are like, now it's even more ambiguous. That opens a whole other can of worms. We can't.
It's not just no. Why am I? Sorry, I keep getting triggered. My bad. My bad.
We can't know what newsroom really means. Is it in reference to a physical location or remote location, a collection of employees that manage booking? Now we have to they made a delineation between booking and engagement and collaboration. So we have to understand what these things mean. And then from there we have to again, there's government officials or others. Who's or others? Is an others reference to people that could reasonably be classified alongside government officials or something pertinent to that? Or is it? Or are we talking about someone like your grandmother or just a random person?
You guys don't understand what the newsroom is.
This is a classic contract to me where it's so ambiguous. It's so ambiguous and it's so all-encompassing that, you know what, if you fuck up, according to them, they could just say, well, you're in violation of this part. And it's so broad and it's so vague that they could just fucking terminate you.
All right, someone says you don't understand what the newsroom is. It's brand name for their influencer management software. Okay, so the
reason why we don't understand what that means is because no one will show us a full fucking contract, so we're having to divine these things based on the context.
Why did Taylor write the article in? That's an L.
Context is only more confusing.
Why is Taylor Lorenz? Why is she stating things that aren't true then? If this is, proprietary software.
Because she saw the whole contract and we did not. And so she may not have said something untrue.
I think she said something untrue.
We don't know that. You haven't seen the whole contract, Pisco.
So you think that this alone, the booking engagement section, that there's a possibility that the other parts of the contract, or reasonable possibility, that the other parts of this contract would
I would
somehow
hope that there's some sort of appendix. No. There's some sort of appendix that clarifies what the hell the Chorus newsroom is, what the hell the difference between a booking and engagement a booking versus an engagement opportunity, and then from there, the
Limited contract experience. Potentially more than both of these people, though. Maybe not Pisco, depending on what type of contract you're talking about. An appendix? Wait, isn't it an appendix? Or is that the thing in your body? Whatever they call them, whatever you have that's going to clarify terms will never be clarifying common fucking nouns in a contract. So engagements or whatever arrangements, that's not going to be defined. Typically, in a contract, defined terms usually will be with an uppercase letter and in quotation marks, or at the very least, it will be in an uppercase letter or quotation marks. I do not think that you will ever have an appendix in a contract that is defining lowercase nouns. If you're going to define something, then you're going to refer to it. From every contract I've ever read in my entire life, it's going to be quotation marks and a capital letter referring to it. That's what I've seen. I would be shocked if there's a thing saying others refers to blah, 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 blah.
The stipulations are laid out and we can better understand what is being said here.
All right, let's press play. We've looped enough.
Okay. Well, I like to think it's not looping because we kept coming up with different angles to understand the language of this contract through. If you're keeping in mind like a different interpretation of what constitutes a newsroom, or now.
Oh my God. This is so much. Where's the quote? Give me the start quote. Give it to me. Give it to me. We need to read it. We need to have this. We should have this memorized. I need to have this memorized, and before every debate, I just need to say it, just so that we know what we're getting into. Give it to me. Give it to me. It might not necessarily be capitalized, but it is almost always in quotations. Yeah, I feel like you'll almost always see it in, at the very least, quotes. Remember, never believe that the people that we debate online are completely unaware of the absurdity of their replies. They know that their remarks are frivolous, open to challenge, but they are amusing themselves, for it is their adversary who is obliged to use words responsibly, since he believes in words. The ridiculous people that we debate online have the right to play. They even like to play with discourse, for by giving ridiculous reasons, they discredit the seriousness of their interlocutors. Ah ha ha ha, the laughing earlier. They delight in acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate and disconcert. If you press them too closely, they will abruptly fall silent, loftily indicating that there's not enough detail about the contract in here to even know what we're talking about, so we should just giggle, laugh, and move on, despite the fact that it was the job of the journalist to convey more precise details about what was even being spoken about.
Again, the latest wrench that has been thrown into it is what booking and engagement is, and it sounds like both of us were off. It might not even be in reference to a location, it might not be in reference to employees, it might be in reference to a fucking software.
Don't you think this is like all relevant context that should have been disclosed in Taylor's article?
Not.
Ah! And Pisco hits on the well, I said killer question, but yeah, this is correct. Okay, fine, maybe that's not. Shouldn't we have known that then?
Not necessarily, because I don't know what the whole contract is. This is one.
Not knowing, the point of a journalist is to inform. If you don't know, that's the fault of the journalist. Is this note supposed to make you happy or sad? Any feelings in the chat? Any feelers in the chat? Who knows? You don't know, because there's no harmony. You haven't been given any context, and that's the job of the musician. Oh, it's a happy note. Or is it? Okay, it sounded a little happy there because I just followed up a minor chord after a major chord. But like, if it's on its own, that's sad, right? That's a sad note. If I just play this, and I ask you to tell me, is that a happy or sad note? Is that a major or a minor E flat? You don't know. You have no idea. You need more context. And if I were to present it to you as such, expecting you to interpret it a certain way, then that would be a failure on my part if I didn't provide enough harmonic information for you to understand what it's supposed to be.
Paragraph that this TikToker is drawing attention to exonerate herself, seemingly, or defend herself.
Don't you think that, like, if she's implying that Chorus is trying to micromanage all of these different interactions, but there are multiple plausible readings of this contract.
Not necessarily. Well, I guess, yeah, micromanage. Okay, micromanage, right.
That's the implication.
It's not necessarily micromanage if you have to run every single thing that you're doing through them with every single conversation, even if you, in passing, talk to mom and dad. Because remember, Aaron said maybe even informal comments would pass for that engagement.
And I think that what she's suggesting. She's suggesting, and some of the quotes that she...
Yeah, with the funnel thing. Yeah, with the funnel thing.
I think that she's suggesting that, and I think that...
I don't even like Pisco's... See how she's brought him to this world? She's implying that. She's not implying that. Or if you want to use imply, it's in all caps. It's heavily... It's outright stated. This is not an implication. Maybe if they funnel... It's again, if they just read the next paragraph, I don't know if they'll get to the next paragraph. The next paragraph, the person says, what if I want to interview Zoran Mamdani? I'm not giving that to them. Give!
The best reading of these contractual provisions, at a bare minimum, anticipates coordination of bookings through other means that is not through the newsroom.
Assuming this is what she's referencing, assuming that there's no other part of this contract that negates that or could change one's interpretation of it, assuming that they all got this contract. All of these creators might not have gotten.
Why would this TikToker make a video fighting against what Taylor Lorenz says and then quote the wrong part of the contract? Are we just assuming that this person can't read any of their contract, or that they're retarded, or that nobody else has released the relevant part?
The same contract.
Pisco's stunlocked. These are unwinnable arguments. A+ though for the meme debate. He just can't. He's like, fuck. He's like, fuck. What the fuck am I even doing? How long have they argued this single? And this, by the way, this is like a thing that I don't think reasonable minds could disagree on this. There is no reasonable mind for disagreement here. This is just a meme. This is completely a meme.
Press play.
Nothing to say.
He just gives up.
You know that?
No, I mean,
Oh, and she's happy. Now she presses the advantage. She's got him because Peter's like, fuck. This is like, fuck, you're retarded. We're arguing over like, this is you can't believe this.
I guess it's possible that they're different contracts. There's possible different contracts.
And yeah, he shouldn't even grant that.
Okay, well, you start.
Also, I wouldn't grant that there are different contracts. If there are different contracts, generally speaking, they're going to be contracts with different clauses, or there are going to be contracts that have different terms. But the idea that there would be one company issuing contracts with slightly different language in the same clauses, I guess it's possible, but that sounds insane to me. That would be crazy. I feel like your legal team would put a hit out on you if they were like, hey, we got somebody coming back here. We were trying to figure out like how we can enforce this. And the legal team was like, oh, okay, what contract is it? And it's like, oh, it's the creator contract. Okay, no, not creator contract. It's the creator contract we issued to whatever. And it's like, oh, wait, do we have any special clauses in that one? Well, no, it's like the standard creator one, but we like added like a sentence under the non-disparagement clause. Like, what do you mean so it's a different one than everybody else? Generally, terms are different. So a term might be how long somebody is contracted for. A term might be the payment amount or how many events you're required to do. And then like different clauses might be, you might have a clause where like you are like a non-disparagement clause, but like, you can't shit on the organization or other people, or a non-compete might be a clause or whatever. But the idea that you would have the same clause in multiple contracts with the same tier of creator, but like slightly different wording that's maybe in other industries, maybe that's normal. That sounds crazy to me. That sounds insane to me. I can never imagine trying to enforce that company-wide. That sounds ridiculous.
You only begin that little spiel at the end there before we're going to press play because you were saying like it's bad faith or something, right?
Okay, she might have, so we're meant to suggest.
And I'm saying that like there's all of this other information.
These are so frustrated. It's
Taylor herself. Okay, if there are a bunch of different types of contracts,
Taylor, right?
But Taylor is saying, no, I'm not saying it's but it's Taylor. You said that. Taylor's the one.
You literally just said but it's
I know,
Taylor.
you didn't let me finish. You're like, but it's Taylor, and you stopped there as well. I was saying, but it's Taylor.
Okay,
It's Taylor.
okay. You're gonna say something else. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's Taylor who is the one who's saying that all these contracts are the same. They're all take it or leave it. She seems to be the one suggesting that they're all uniform in nature.
true.
As far as the creators understood.
All right, press
Because the
play.
creators are.
Oh, what? It's part of what? No, it's part of... As far as Taylor understood, they write in the Wired article that they'd read the contracts. They said multiple times in the article, they read the contracts. They said they read the contracts.
Are privy to each other's contracts.
All right.
What?
As far as the creators understood.
All right, press
Because the
play.
creators aren't privy to each other's contracts.
No, but Taylor claimed that she's read multiple contracts in the article. That they reviewed multiple contracts.
All right, press play.
They were told it's a take it or leave it thing, but we don't know. There's 90 creators in this program. She only talked to a handful of them. She was only aware of the names of a handful of them or she didn't disclose if she's aware of the name of all, like the roster of 90 different creators. Is it that unreasonable to assume that of 90 different creators of varying platform sizes that some might have been actually able to negotiate or have red lines and others were not given that?
Negotiating. You're negotiating for terms or you're negotiating for entire clauses. Unless you're seeking just like clarification on one or maybe clarifying, but the idea that, and again, I don't know if somebody's more into talent creator relation, the idea that you would have slightly altered language in the same clauses from person to person. Maybe you have like star talent. You want to bring somebody on. You want to fucking write a special, unique. Sometimes you'll have like your like I don't know what you'd call them if there's like a proper term for like star contracts, like big contracts. Like okay, we have like an A player we're gonna sign here. You might draw up like an extra special contract for them. That could be possible where you are willing to redline or do something like one of a kind, unique for that person. But that would be that would be an exceptional thing, I think.
An option.
Mm-hmm. Best way.
You know, or do you think that it's more likely
and she won't even let him go. She's fucking assassin. She's trying to fucking crucify him on the worst arguments. Oh, somebody said Destiny. It's called Bespoke Boilerplate Sweetie. Okay.
not that all 90 creators have identical contracts?
Again, what I'm saying here, this is a good wordplay. All identical contracts? Of course they don't have identical contracts. But the things that Aaron was bringing up, like different platform sizes and everything else, would probably dictate different terms. So like compensation, or maybe length of contract, like different like numbers and stuff in the thing, or different types of clauses, but not like little language changes within each of the clauses themselves. And Pisco has to back up. He has to clarify this terms thing. He does. Because obviously all 90 aren't going to have the same contract. We already know because some were promised $8,000 versus $250. But an $8,000 thing versus $250 a month could be literally the exact same contract, just with different terms. It's possible. Unlikely. There's probably going to be something more in there. But like it could theoretically be the same contract, just with different terms.
I don't know if they're all the same. They seem to suggest no redlining, and so I don't know if they're all the same.
But they said they had a revised contract in the beginning of this article. They were redlining. It was a revised contract. Almost certainly that implies that they were redlining. And the language that the creators used, saying, oh, it looks like it's give and take or whatever, that implies that they redlined. They had at least one contract revision.
No reason
I'm just saying it's a definite possibility that
What was the phrase that was just used there? Type that in chat. I need to use that in my debates more. Type that. What was that phrase? A definite possibility. 100% this could have happened. I'm absolutely certain that it's possible that this was the case. I think we can speak with total clarity that potentially this could have happened.
They suggest no redlining, and so I don't know if they're all the same. And I have no reason.
I'm just saying it's a definite possibility that when you have 90 creators signed onto this incubator program, that there could have been some, especially as they're getting into the larger ones that have like maybe almost approaching 1 million subscribers, that you'd have more leverage and you would be able to have negotiated. Even though they told everybody from the start you can't, but then you actually start to like enter into negotiations and then maybe they allowed it.
But Parnas is a big creator, so if Parnas can say no, if he had we would take it or leave it, I just don't.
Well, wait. How do you spell his name?
Aaron Parnas, Aaron Parnas.
Parnas.
He's a big name. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, this is the Cronkite guy, right?
Yeah.
Don't feel strongly about pushing. Allotted in. They aren't going to modify it. But again, we talked about earlier how like TikTok followers don't necessarily translate.
He's a big guy, Aaron Parnas.
Wow, the million on TikTok, isn't it? Oh my god, I love it. This is debate perpetrated at its finest. This is what people accuse me of doing also. God damn it. Oh, so good.
But I'll take you at your word.
And he's also a lawyer, by the way. He's a lawyer.
Okay.
All right, let's play.
I was waiting for that. Well, did you do contract law?
That's why people have lawyers and managers to help them, but you don't write an article about it unless you understand what's going on. This whole article is just written like, this group, they have money and so they control them. And it's just like, no, that's not what's happening. If there's someone in this cohort that you are like...
How long did it take them to get through that one section? This was 32 minutes. If I go back an hour and 30, were they debating this? Yep. Hour and 25. Okay, about an hour for this sentence.
Too much of a shill, doing whatever the Democratic Party says. It's not this program that's the reason for that. I don't know how to put this nicely. It's either a personal moral failing by those people, or it's a different contract they're under that says they can't criticize Dems. But it's not this one, because I'm under this contract, and you can catch me on the daily making fun of Andrew Cuomo, pissed at Cory Booker, calling for Chuck Schumer to lose his job. Take your pick. I have heard of contracts that exist that restrict what people can say bad about Democrats, but this is not one of them. This contract actually has no bearing on a single thing that we ever post, which brings me to my next section. The next part, and this is a really important part, I'm going to try to explain this as well as I can, but feel free to comment questions, is that the contracts reviewed by Wired prohibit standard partnership disclosures. What she's talking about, okay, a standard partnership disclosure is when you make a video in partnership with an org like the ACLU, and so then you put ACLU partner as a disclosure in your caption. There's very important context left out of this article.
Does Aaron want Dems to win or not? No, she does not.
Of why
or I would say rather she's indifferent to it.
Standard disclosures aren't the kind we use at Chorus, and that's because Chorus never pays us to make a video. The author of this article actually said that in a comment. You're correct that Chorus doesn't pay you to post specific content. Chorus is a training program where I learn things like what lights to buy if I want to film a YouTube video, and what policy experts are saying about gerrymandering in Texas and National Guard in DC. So since Chorus is about like personal development and they're never paying you to make a video, of course you're not putting like Chorus partnership in your caption. That's not how that would work. So I don't fault anyone who read this sentence and was like, that is so evil, because a lot of people who consume content don't necessarily know the way that the logistics of like your partnership labels work. But I am frustrated at the author of this article for not adding like the relevant context here, because she is not supposed to publish an article unless it's been like very fact-checked and contextualized, and this was like very misleading. And then I also highlighted the section I accidentally talked
Well, I
about.
mean, I don't think that she did. It was like a Wired team also reviewed this.
At the author of this article for not adding like the relevant context here, because she is not supposed to publish an article unless it's been like very fact-checked and contextualized, and this was like very misleading. And then I also highlighted the section I accidentally talked
Well, I
about.
mean, I don't think that she did. It was like a Wired team also reviewed this.
There are the standards for reviewing an article can be dramatically different, even within the same news organization. You might have a website that has its own, like, I don't know the names of the positions, like master editor or whatever, like a lead editor guy who might, like for, I'm doing conjecture because I don't know Wired in particular, but let's say like Wired or TechCrunch or whatever might have like a different editorial board for like their tech articles versus if they had like a politics section, they might have a totally different editorial board for that. For the Wall Street Journal, they might have like a specialized financial editor guy who goes over articles and does his own fact checking and might even go over the top. I've had people do, for instance, like interviews with me or profiles on me where sometimes I'll get an interview from the journalist asking like, hey, here's like a couple clarifying questions, just checking. Sometimes I've gotten I've gotten questions from their editors or supervisors where a guy will email me like, hey, Stephen Bonnell, you just did a piece with blah, 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 blah. Could you just answer these 3 questions for me just to make sure that we have things correct? And sometimes the questions aren't even what's directly in the article. So I don't know if they're just going by what they heard from the guy or whatever who did the actual interview, but the editorial process and then who's going to be involved in that is going to be totally different from what I've seen from company to company and even sometimes within the company. So to talk like there's a one single unified standardized process here is probably never going to be the case.
Misleading. And then I also highlighted the section I accidentally talked
Well, I
about.
mean, I don't think that she did. It was like a Wired team also reviewed this. She doesn't have like sole editorial discretion at Wired.
Speaking of,
You have no idea if that's true or not. Aaron has no clue how much fact checking that Wired actually did here for this article. We have no idea.
which Wired said, following the publication of this article, Graham Wilson of the Elias Law Group, whose participation in the Zoom call was reported upon and who did not respond to Wired pre-publication email requesting comment, reached out to Wired on several points. These include whether members of the cohort can publicly talk about working with Chorus and Chorus's connection to good influence, both of which Wired has clarified. We've also included comment from Wilson regarding Chorus's placing restrictions on content and whether speaker hair was included in any Chorus materials. So you might be using an outdated version of the article.
Possibly. Well, let me see. Oh, wait, probably because there was like corrections, right? Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's good that we read it before we got the corrections. No?
Yeah, let's actually, hang on, I'm going to try to redline this. One sec. Oh, is there an easy way to do this? Fuck. I don't have the software.
Oh, wait, so this was like paywalled yesterday, I swear.
I'm going to try to.
And it's actually good that we have the first version of this article so we can compare it against the new one.
By the way, I have to go in like 20 minutes. I have to get ready for a dinner.
Yeah.
Not lying.
You have to do your douche routine or whatever.
What the fuck?
The everything shower.
How dare you? Let me see what they added here. We'll try to see. I'm just gonna try to eyeball it because I can't see right now.
Okay. I think this is it, right?
Story. Sees the
Okay. We didn't need to watch that.